Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world. And to welcome to the programme four exciting, talented individuals who are going to show their skill with words and language as they try and speak on the subject that I give them, and they try and do that without hesitation, repetition or deviation. And they are, seated on my right, Paul Merton and Jenny Eclair, and seated on my left, Gyles Brandreth and Kerry Godliman. Please welcome all four of them. Beside me sits Sarah Sharp, who's going to help me with the score. She's going to blow the whistle and run the stopwatch for me. And as usual, I'm going to ask them to speak on the subject that I give them, and they're going to try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And we'll begin the show with Paul Merton. Paul, the subject I have here is queuing. Tell us something about that. Boring. Queuing, 60 seconds, starting now.
Well, I'm glad that our esteemed chairman has pointed out that this subject is rather boring, but I shall do my best to enliven it. The queue for Just a Minute stretches all the way from the outside to the inside of this building. People have been in the queue for quite some time. Give yourself a round of applause.
Gyles, you've obviously got him for hesitation.
No, not for hesitation, a repetition of the word queue. The queue outside the theatre, then he repeated the word queue.
Yeah, that's right, because queuing is a symbol.
Also, trying to butter up the audience never works, I find.
I don't think you've endeared yourself to this audience. Anyway, it was a correct challenge. So you get a point for the correct challenge, and you take over the subject, and there are 41 seconds left, starting now.
I have to say, in the queue today, the queuing was done in the most extraordinary way. It was like the conga. There was even an erotic charge, because these people are so physically attractive, so intellectually acute, that they have come to Just a Minute in a state of high excitement. For them, queuing is almost a missionary zeal.
Paul challenge.
Well, I mean, there's patronising an audience and... I think there was a little stumble over missionary zeal.
Yes, there was.
There was indeed, yes. Well, I think it's only justice because you've got it back again, Paul. You've got a point for a correct challenge, and there are 22 seconds still available. Queuing starting now.
It's quite common for an orgy to break out amongst the first 5 rows at a recording of this programme. And I think the British are renowned throughout the world for their queuing techniques, whether it be for football, cricket, tennis, cinema or theatre. We are known to stand one behind another in order to be an orderly line to get into whatever the venue is. I well remember the days of...
In this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point, and it was Paul Merton. So as you can imagine, he's in the lead at the end of the first round. Jenny, will you begin the second round? And the subject we have here now is finger food. 60 seconds if you need it. Finger food, starting now.
Most food can be eaten with one's fingers, apart from soup and custard. Traditionally, though, finger food is served at parties and should be delicately lifted from the plate, popped into the mouth. So tiny little morsels, miniature vol au vent, chicken skewers, tiny little...
Kerry, you challenged.
2 tinies.
There were 2 tinies, yes.
Well done.
Oh, I thought I said teeny. But you
teeny
obviously
tiny.
sound like tiny to you, Kerry.
No. Kerry, welcome to the show.
Oh, God.
You've got 39 seconds available if you need it. Finger food, starting now.
Finger food is not food made of fingers. It's food that is the size of fingers. And...
repetition of fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's finger food.
Yes, not fingers.
No.
Got it.
Got it. Paul got it first. Another point to you, Paul. 31 seconds available. Finger food starting now.
I went to a cannibal's picnic once and I was astonished when he opened up the basket and there was finger food. Literally knuckles for dinner. So I thought to myself, I am going to create the best finger food that there is. So I went into my kitchen, found the smallest pans available and started putting together the ingredients. A bit of flour, salmon and all kinds of cucumber. More than you could even possibly imagine they exist.
Gyles, you challenge.
All kinds of cucumber.
Small ones, big ones, right ones.
Some as big
There's
as your
3
head.
for a start. Sea cucumber. There's 4. How many do you want?
All kinds. There are only 2
Paul,
leading varieties sold in the United
I think
Kingdom.
that isn't a variety of cucumber.
No, exactly.
That is the state of a cucumber.
You're absolutely right, Nicholas.
Yeah. So, Gyles has got a keen ear for this game, is listening
Absolutely.
well, and has got a correct challenge, a point. 9 seconds still available, Gyles. Finger food starting now.
There is a crisis in the cutlery manufacturing industry in this country as a direct result of the proliferation of finger food.
So, Gyles Brandreth, speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point, and he's now moved forward. He's equal in the lead with Paul Merton. And, Gyles, it's your turn to begin. The subject, a topical one, it's that time of year, the Grand National. Tell us something about that amazing steeplechase in this game, starting now.
Well, it was a topical one at the time the programme was recorded, but now, months later, we look back on the Grand National with huge affection. I can't quite tell you who won this year because there is some confusion in my mind as to who it might be. I have privileged access to the Grand National because it has a sponsor that is in the healthcare business, and some of you will know, on television now, I am the voice of the Tenor Flex Plus Super Soft Incontinence Pack. These are the people who are providing the £1 million for the prize.
Kerry, you challenge.
You can't just put an endorsement in the middle of just...
No.
I mean, come on, there are standards, aren't
is it-
there?
it
Our standards.
That's
and-
grubby.
Excuse me. The Grand National, broadcast by the BBC, they call it the Randox Health Grand National.
Is that true?
It is true.
Right,
It's
okay,
a fact.
I stand corrected. That's allowed then, is it? Is that allowed?
Kerry,
Advert in.
well, now he's explained that, I think it is allowed, but as you haven't played the game much before, I think we'll give you a bonus point because we love the interrupt.
Thank you very much.
But Gyles, an incorrect challenge, so you keep the subject. 32 seconds starting now.
The Grand National started, I believe, in 1839. You will be able to correct me, Nicholas, because perhaps you were acquainted with it at that time. I do not know. But you will be aware that it is run at Aintree and has been, except during the Great War, when it moved to Gatwick, where the airport now is. 16 jumps in the Grand National, and 14 of them are done twice. Beecher's Brook is the terrifying one. The chair also is a little bit alarming, and sadly, people every year find their horses underneath them collapsing, and sometimes...
Right, so Gyles Brandreth, the speaker as the whistle went, gained that extra point. And Paul, we're back with you to begin. Oh, something which was very popular a little while ago, sticky back plastic. Oh, please talk about it in this game, starting now.
Sticky back plastic is something I associate with a DIY man called Barry Bucknell, who used to appear on the BB. Oh, what a mistake.
It's not like Paul, that
Not
one,
like
is
Paul.
it?
No,
I was just trying to make sure I pronounced Barry Bucknell right.
Yes. So, Jenny, a correct reference.
Yeah.
It's a repetition of B, 53 seconds available. Sticky back plastic, starting now.
My favourite version of sticky back plastic comes in a roll called gaffer tape. The things you can do with that. Lean over, trousers bust, get it together with the sticky stuff, or remove hair from private places. Who needs expensive wax strips?
With gaffer tape?
Yes. I could demonstrate had I roll on me.
Well, I've got a roll here, actually.
So, Paul, what's your condition?
Well, I don't know. Is gaffer tape sticky back plastic?
I don't know.
I don't think it's the same thing.
It's plastic with a sticky back to it. In
Yeah.
so much that it is plastic
maybe.
with a sticky back.
I think we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Sure.
Because you've got a lot of support from the audience. So, an incorrect challenge. Jenny, you've still got the subject. 35 seconds. Sticky back plastic, starting now.
You can also whack a strip over somebody's mouth.
Oh, Paul
Did
Challenge.
we have strip before?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Strip it
Yes.
off,
Yeah, okay.
And you take over the subject, and there are 31 seconds available, starting now.
The children's programme Blue Peter in the 1960s used to go on a lot about sticky back plastic, and essentially it was something you stuck over wooden coffee tables to make them look a little brighter, perhaps. This was the era when plastic was considered a more superior material to the actual wood underneath. It was a fashion that lasted for...
Kerry Challenge.
Was it a repetition of wood?
Yes.
Was it?
Wood.
Okay.
Table.
Oh,
So, Kerry, well listened. 12 seconds are available.
no. Okay. I can work with that. I can work with 12 seconds.
You can.
Well, I think so. I've got loads of opinions and feelings on sticky back plastic.
Without hesitation, repetition, or
I
deviation.
can't guarantee that, Nicholas.
But try sticky back plastic, starting now.
When I was at school, people used to use sticky back plastic to stick pictures of their favourite pop stars on their exercise books. So I would have a picture of Bros or...
No, Jenny.
I can't believe I did that.
No, wasn't it picture and pictures?
Pictures and then pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard it. I heard myself do it.
Wasn't repetition.
So, no need to apologise,
No,
Jenny.
no.
I was listening, but that's my job.
You've
He said
got a
picture
job?
and pictures.
Pictures.
Yeah,
Wow, got away with it.
Yeah.
got away with it.
Hardly any seconds left to go.
Oh, God, if I
You've
mess
got
this up,
2
it'll
seconds
be appalling.
left. Sticky back plastic, starting now.
I also stuck pictures...
Gary Godliman
of course she did.
gained that extra point, and she has leapt forward. She's now in 3rd place. Gyles is in the lead, just ahead of Paul, then Kerry, and then Jenny. And Jenny Eclair, we're back with you to begin the subject, UFOs. Tell us something about that in this game, starting now.
UFOs are unidentified flying objects. I tell you what I can't identify. Birds.
Paul
There
Challenge.
was a bit of a stumble in there, wasn't there?
It was unfortunate that
Yes.
I was choking.
Perhaps you should take the gaffer tape out your mouth.
I think it was a justified, correct challenge.
Okay, fair enough.
So, Paul, another point to you. 52 seconds. UFOs starting now.
There's a monthly magazine called 40 Times that often features articles on UFOs. Jenny Randalls is the publication's chief expert. They've been spotted in this country and all around the world ever since the 1940s, just after the Second World War. Roswell is a particular famous example.
Giles Challenge.
UFOs were spotted in France in the 1870s that led to the writing of Jules Verne's story about UFOs. So they weren't first spotted in the 1940s. So deviation from the facts.
I shouldn't... Well, yeah,
Wow.
That's all.
Yes, I should have said it became popular spotted. But yes, I don't know about Jules Verne, but if Giles says that's right, I would believe him.
No, I think they were spotted earlier.
Although the
They
face
only
he's just
became-
pulled makes me think that he's lying.
And you applaud him when he makes these rude remarks about it.
It's just the face.
It is. Thank you for understanding.
What was the Jules Verne story that's got flying saucers in it?
Le sauceur volant.
Take all his points off him.
I've called his bluff, Nicholas. I've called his bluff.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
Well, we'll find out. UFOs is with you.
No. Alexa,
Wait a
Jules
minute.
Verne, 1872.
I haven't said you start yet.
You carry on, Nicholas. I'm so sorry.
No. It's up to you to carry on.
Oh, is it my turn still?
35 seconds to
All
go.
right.
UFOs starting now.
In 1989, I was driving...
Paul Challenge.
It was 1988.
I won't charge on that. It was such a lovely interruption. But Giles, no points. 33 seconds still available. UFOs starting now.
I saw this UFO landing near the M25. I was aghast. Others witnessed it as well. It fell to the ground, and a little man in a silver suit emerged, and a police officer approached him with a truncheon out. It turned out this was the 31st of March in whatever year, I don't quite recall, but it was in fact Richard...
Paul Challenge.
Hesitation,
Yes, there
sadly.
was.
Yes, there was. So,
What happened?
Well, it was Richard Branson.
What?
Richard
He was
Bra-
the alien?
Richard Branson was, as a little amusing publicity stunt, trying to land a UFO in Hyde Park on April Fool's Day, but the wind got up at the wrong time, and it landed a few hours early off the M25. I was hesitating because I didn't know whether to say Sir Richard Branson or Richard Branson.
You didn't want to offend
because
him.
there-
How did you happen to be there?
About which year he got the knighthood in, and I didn't want to be picked up on that
On the
by...
year.
by
How did
Paul.
you happen to be there at the time?
Well, because I've been reading a book by Jules Verne, which suggests that possibly I was just there going round and round in circles, as one does.
I think we've had enough on that.
Good call.
Paul, 9 seconds still available. UFOs starting now.
As the human figure emerged from the flying saucer, it resembled Nicholas Parsons. There is a planet far away which creates humanoids in the shape of our chairman.
Right. So Paul Merton was speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point, and he's gone forward. He's now in the lead, one ahead of Giles Brandreth. And then come Kerry Godliman and then Jenny Eclair in that order. And Kerry, we're back with you to begin. And the subject now, superstitions. Talk about them, 60 seconds, starting now.
Superstitions are things that people believe might bring you luck, either good or bad. Some examples of superstitions.
Jenny, challenge.
Darn, you'll get it back in no time.
What's your challenge?
Oh, she hesitated.
Superstitions is with you, Jenny. 52 seconds available, starting now.
I'm a very superstitious woman. Won't walk under a ladder. Friday the 13th, I spend the entire day in bed. Nothing can go wrong under my duvet unless my kidneys explode or the ceiling falls on my head. Of course, as Kerry mentioned, not all things are bad omens. Black cats, not sure either way. However, I always have a lucky rabbit's foot and a 4-leaf clover sewn into my fortunate knickers, which I'm wearing tonight.
Paul, challenge.
You have a rabbit's foot sewn into your knickers.
All right, it's not sewn in, it's gaffer taped in. I'm a very lazy woman.
So, we don't know unless you
We don't
take them off.
know.
No.
So if she says she's got it, she's got it.
I've always had it. Doctor can't get rid of it. I've had all the antibiotics.
So, incorrect challenge, Paul. 16 seconds. Superstitions are starting now.
Of course, it's ridiculous. There's nothing about good or bad luck that's going...
Giles.
Repetition of luck.
Yeah.
Yes, you mentioned luck before, Jenny. And, Giles, you've got him with 11 seconds to go, with another point, of course. Superstitions are starting now.
I had to hesitate on my way here this evening because I passed a ladder leaning against a wall, and I was thinking, do I go under it, when I saw a black cat crossing, and maddeningly I bumped into it.
So, Giles Brandreth speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. And he's taken the lead again, back ahead of Paul Merton. And, Giles, it's your turn to begin. Online shopping is the subject. 60 seconds if you need it, starting now.
Online shopping is fraught with danger, as I discovered due to a story that I'm going to tell you that gets me around to online shopping, but bear with me. It's to do with my tour that I'm undertaking, and a man in the audience shouting out, "Fish! Halibut! Kippers! We haven't heard about them." I paused and inquired. It turned out that he thought he'd come to see Rick Stein, and was disappointed that I was not telling him how to debone a trout. He had bought tickets online. The next show was the aforementioned chef who celebrates the fishy things that go around in the water, and he had inadvertently chosen tickets for the wrong adventure. Online.
All right, Jenny, you challenge.
Tickets.
Well, listen, Jenny, correct challenge.
Oh, thank you.
He did repeat it. 21 seconds, online shopping with you, starting now.
I've made some terrible mistakes with online shopping, especially clothes. You look at some young model in a yellow top, think that'll suit me, click away and you've got it. Next thing it arrives, some sick lemon rag that couldn't fit a 2-year-old. You might as well set fire.
So, Jenny Eclair was speaking as the whistle went. Gained that extra point. She has moved forward. She's only 1 point behind Paul Merton, who's only 2 points behind Giles Brandreth. And they're all 3 or 4 points ahead of Kerry Godliman. And, well, she only played the game once before.
I know, it's
and
harder.
Paul Merton, your turn to begin the game. Wembley Stadium. Tell us something about that amazing place in this game, starting now.
The first FA Cup final played at Wembley Stadium was in 1923 between West Ham United and Bolton Wanderers. Jules Verne wrote about it in a book at the time. The winning goal was scored by a man called David Jacques, and unfortunately at the time, because the ticket allocation wasn't as sophisticated as it is these days, there was hundreds of thousands of people turned up to watch this occasion, and there was a policeman on a white horse that had to control the crowd, and this became known as the football game, where the equine alabaster creature featured quite strongly in some photographs of the day. Wembley Stadium has seen many occasions. We think of the 1966 World Cup match between England...
Kerry challenge.
Is it Cup? FA Cup? And...
Yes, right, yes, well done.
So stressful.
Yeah, well listened, Kerry, and you've got 16 seconds to tell us something about Wembley Stadium, starting now.
Wembley Stadium is where I believe they play football games, but I'm not particularly interested in that sport. I do not understand how people get so excited about a ball being kicked around a field. There are other things in Wembley.
So, Kerry Godliman was speaking as the whistle went. She is now equal with Jenny in third place, but only 1 point behind Paul Merton, who's only 1 point behind Gyles Brandreth. And Jenny, it's your turn to begin. The subject now, David Bailey. 60 seconds, starting now.
Who do you think you are? David Bailey was a catchphrase some of us of a certain age will remember from a television advert where David Bailey himself was advertising cameras. I think it might have been the Olympus trip. No doubt Gyles could put me right on that. He was a photographer from the East End, made good, a sort of cheeky, chappy, handsome lad who snapped many models of the day, including faces such as Twiggy, Penelope Tree, Mary Helvin, Jerry Hall, and one day the call came for myself.
Hey.
Jenny, my agent said, David Bailey wants to take your visage. So I went to this studio and disrobed onto...
Well, that doesn't often happen.
No.
Someone begins with a subject and keeps going without hesitation, repetition or deviation until the full 60 seconds. So you get a point when the whistle went and a bonus point for not being interrupted.
Yeah.
And you have moved forward. You're in second place now. 1 behind Gyles Brandreth, 1 ahead of Paul Merton and 2 ahead of Kerry Godliman. And Kerry, we're back with you to begin. The last time I won something. A second to think about it. 60 seconds if you need. Starting now.
The last time I won something was at my children's school fair, which was the tombola, and I won a tin of beans. It seems that most people donate something they no longer think they need, or some junk at the back of a cupboard. I have been known to donate an old...
Oh,
Donate.
Gyles' turn, yes.
Donate.
Donate.
I see my error now.
So, Gyles, the correct challenge. A point to you. Donate. The last time I won something now.
The last time I won something was in a charity auction, and it was a visit to David Bailey's studio, where I was invited to look through his back catalogue and came across these extraordinary pictures of a young woman with a rabbit's foot tucked behind her bucket. It was an amazing sight. I must say, the sticky back plastic in it didn't look much like gaffer tape to me, but there was undoubtedly an erotic charge as I looked at this particular piece of artwork. And I thought to myself, this remarkable artist has really given me something that I do feel glad to have won. The other time that I won something rather special was when Nicholas took me to meet his wife at rather an amusing swingers party. This was where sticky back...
And we're moving into the final round. Gyles Brandreth, that last flourish, is in the lead, and he's 1 or 2 ahead of Jenny Eclair, who's 1 ahead of Paul Merton, and she's 2 ahead of Kerry Godliman. And Gyles, we're back with you to begin. Central Park. Tell us something about that place in this game, starting now.
Central Park exists in New York City, and it's one of the most beautiful places to go for a leisurely afternoon with a close and intimate friend, somebody like Jenny Eclair, or now, I hope, Kerry, because we've become quite close during the course of this program, though she rather resented when I began to say 07165, for she said, don't go that far, we're not going to Central Park together. I said, fine, if that's the way you feel about it, we won't. I want you to pick daisies in Central Park. There are horses that are trotting by. I could give you an amusing ride. Central Park, the people dress so well. And we have such fun there when we go trit-trotting around.
Oh, poor challenge.
Trit-trotting?
Trit-trotting?
What's trit-trotting?
I think it's all right.
You think trit-trotting is all right?
Yeah, well...
Trit-trotting's all right, is it?
Well, it's a way of getting around saying trot, 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 isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. Just make up a word and then you don't have to say the other word.
I'll give the benefit of the doubt, Gyles. Another point. 19...
Oh!
You hear the Northern line going through then, didn't you hear it?
All right, no points, but Gyles, it's right. But still with you, 19 seconds starting now.
Well, I am very relieved because I have to say, in Central Park, when I go there, the people cheer. They wave their hats.
Repetition
There were
of people.
people before when you went to Central Park, yes. And Jenny, correct challenge.
How many seconds, Nicholas?
13.
Oh, there we are.
Central Park, the subject, starting now.
I don't think Central Park is all that central to me, to be honest. I'd have to get a plane, book a hotel and a cab to get to the place. Of course, the idea is spotting.
Paul challenge.
You wouldn't have to book a hotel to get to the place.
Well, I wouldn't be able to get straight back to my
Yeah, but the
house.
hotel's not moving you there.
Well, if
I mean, it's not a form of transport, a hotel. See what I'm saying? It's not on wheels, love. It's not on wheels. It's not like a train or a plane. It's
I'd have to make a weekend of it, Paul. I'm
Yes,
not just
but it
nipping
doesn't-
there and back.
Doesn't
I'm not.
get you there. You're ignoring the fact that it's central to everybody who lives in New York. You're being very, very sort of,
Can you two please stop it?
Yeah.
I agree with your logic, Paul.
Oh, good.
You have a correct challenge. And you have 3 seconds to go.
Yes. Yeah.
It don't
How
make
about
any
that?
difference to the final score. It doesn't matter. Central Park, Paul, starting now.
Trish trotting around Central Park.
And for those who are interested in points, let me give you the final score. So Paul Merton and Jenny Eclair were equal in second place, just ahead of Kerry Godliman, but there were 2 points behind Gyles Brandreth. So we say, Gyles, you are the winner. So it only remains for me to say thank you to these 4 exciting players of the game, Paul Merton, Jenny Eclair, Kerry Godliman and Gyles Brandreth. I think Sarah Sharp, who helped me with the score, blown her whistle so delicately. We're indebted to our producer, Matt Strong. We're deeply indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're indebted to this lovely audience here. So from me, Nicholas Parsons, goodbye, and tune in when we play Just a Minute! Welcome to Just a Minute. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world, but also to welcome to the programme 4 exciting, talented players who are going to show their skill with words and language as they speak on the subject that I give them, and they try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And they are, seated on my right, Paul Merton and Graham Norton, and seated on my left, Gyles Brandreth and Lucy Porter. Please welcome all 4 of them. Beside me is Sarah Sharp, who's going to run the stopwatch for me. She's going to blow the whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And so we begin the show this week with Paul Merton. Paul, the subject I've got here is my dream job. Tell us something about your dream job in this game, starting now.
When I was about 4 years old, I went to the circus at Olympia. When the clowns came on, I was so enchanted and enthralled by what they were doing. I then realised that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, be part of some kind of machinery that evoked laughter in other people. And so in many ways, being on Just a Minute Now is part of my dream job. I remember when I was a little older, my grandfather pointed out Charlie Chaplin on the television and said...
Giles, challenge.
Bit harsh so soon, but a repetition of remember. He began by remembering when he went to the circus, and then he remembered later going to see Charlie
you remember
Chaplin.
quite a lot.
Nobody else remembers it.
A correct challenge. You haven't gained many friends with that challenge.
No. But I'm here to play the game according to the rules.
And that is the way. And you have the subject for 1 point, a correct challenge. 37 seconds until available. My dream job, Giles, starting now.
As chance might have it, I enjoyed my dream job when I was during my gap year, aged about 18, and found myself engaged to be Nicholas Parsons' body double. This was an extraordinary dream job to have, and came as a bit of a surprise. At that time, our esteemed...
Paul, challenge.
Did you get much work?
Given the standing of Nicholas Parsons, I'd imagine I got a great deal of work, as I was about to explain, Nicholas.
I know. Right. Incorrect challenge. 21 seconds is still available. You have another point. My dream job starting now.
The truth is, it was my dream job because our esteemed chairman at that stage was an actor working for the Bolting brothers and playing the role of a beach attendant who was of riper years. And we had a flashback during the time when he was but a boy. This is when...
Paul, challenge.
We've drifted a little way from my dream job.
I was explaining because you didn't believe it.
Yeah, I'm just playing by the rules, Giles, that's all. Just playing by the rules.
Yeah, I think you've wandered a bit from the dream job.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think playing your
I enjoyed you talking about me. Thank you very much for that. But no, you have wandered a bit off.
Okay.
A correct challenge, Paul. A point to you, of course. 5 seconds available. My dream job starting now.
In today's world of DVDs, it's very easy to...
Repetition of D, playing by the rules.
No.
Paul, you're shaking your head. Why not?
No, DVDs. Singular, plural, playing by the rules.
So you get a point for an incorrect challenge, Paul, and you've still got 2 seconds to go on my dream job starting now.
The hours are great, and I really...
So at the end of that round, as you'll guess, Paul Merton is in the lead. Graham Norton, will you begin the next round? And the subject now is sunbathing. I don't know whether you're a sunbather or not, but...
Well, I won't tell you now because I don't want to waste it.
60 seconds if you need it, Graham. Sunbathing starting now.
Sunbathing, because I spend my summers in the wilds of West Cork, is an exotic pastime quite foreign to me. In relation to trapeze work or perhaps basket weaving, I know very little about sunbathing. I have occasionally gone to hot climates, for instance, South Africa, where within a day my head looked boiled. I have pictures of this. It isn't very pleasant to gaze upon, and yet my mother has that photograph in her home because she looks good in it. I wonder, therefore, what this summer holds. Will I learn more of sunbathing?
Paul, challenge.
Did we have summer before?
Yes, you did.
Summers.
Summers, was it?
Yes. Yes. Playing by those rules.
You're quite right, Paul. He did say summers.
Yeah, no, that's right. Absolutely.
No. But well tried.
Yeah.
Graham, you're getting a point there for an incorrect challenge. There's still 16 seconds available. Sunbathing starting now.
Sun-kissed, bronzed. How I long to be those things. I have been to a tanning salon where you go into a strange room reminiscent of something.
Paul, challenge.
Well, that's no longer sunbathing, is it? Because you're going to a tanning salon, you see.
Whatever.
It replicates.
Yeah, but getting a tan is symbolic with sunbathing,
Yes,
isn't it?
but there's not a lot of sun indoors.
No.
It's called an electric beach.
Yeah, He didn't establish he was going in there to get the sun. He was going there for a tan.
Yes.
A tan comes from sunbathing.
Yes.
I think it's loosely connected.
Yes, it's
So I think I should give the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, Graham, you have another point. You still have 5 seconds on sunbathing, starting now.
I'm walking on sunshine, as the woman whose name I can't remember sang so memorably.
So Graham Norton speaking then as the whistle went gained an extra point. He's moved forward. He's 1 point behind Paul, our leader, ahead of Gyles and Lucy Porter. And Lucy, it's your turn to begin. So we'd like you to talk about the subject of Manchester. A wonderful city. There's no laughing matter. But maybe Lucy will get a laugh from it.
I'm going to prove there's no laughing matter.
60 seconds if you need it, Lucy. Manchester, starting now.
In the words of the great Les Dawson, people always say that it rains in Manchester, but that's not true. Admittedly, it is the only place in Britain where they do lifeboat drills on the buses.
Challenge.
Such a wonderful laugh and then quite a long pause.
Yes. You were very much rescuing me there.
No.
Gyles, a correct challenge. There are still 22 seconds still available. Manchester, starting now.
I learned so much about Manchester many years ago when I worked on the Manchester Evening News as a columnist under the editorship of the great Brian Redhead. He taught me sundry things, including the fact that Mancunians, the name from people of that great city, comes from a Latin word mancumium, spelt with an M and meaning mother or breast, because indeed, if you want...
So Gyles Brandreth was then speaking as the whistle went. Gained that extra point for doing so. Has moved forward. He's equal with Paul in the lead. And there's Graham 1 point behind, and then Lucy and Gyles were with you to begin. Oh, the subject, waiting rooms. Oh, we've all experienced them. But Gyles, talk about them in this game, starting now.
I suppose that the dead fish at the bottom of the tank should have given the game away. When I arrived in the waiting room, everybody else looked so ill. I had felt terribly well, but peering around these other wheezing, sad, pathetic creatures, my well-man clinic idea disappeared in front of my eyes. I began coughing and wheezing.
Lucy Porter challenge.
Was well in there twice?
A well-man, as in well-man clinic.
Well-man.
And I felt well.
I don't know what well-man is.
Oh, it's no, because you're a woman. And... But even not, when you get to the age of 40, you get invited by your GP to come to a well-man one-word clinic to check out how you are.
So it's a kind of ironic
it's a clap
name,
clinic.
really.
It's a clap clinic, to be honest.
Lucy, I'm afraid it wasn't a correct
That's
challenge.
fine.
So,
now I know what it is.
Gyles has another point, and he has 40 seconds to continue on waiting rooms, starting now.
Coughs and sneezes spread diseases, trap them in your handkerchief, is a phrase that I remember from a childhood episode of Hancock's Half Hour, where we watched our hero, Anthony Aloysius, in the waiting room.
Paul challenge.
Yes, what do we mean by a childhood episode?
Well, for me, it was during my childhood that I watched it.
Oh, I see, because you said a childhood episode
For
of
me, a
Hancock's
childhood
Half-
episode.
Yes, you didn't make that clear, you see.
Well,
No, well, I see your reasoning, but
Yes.
I don't think
I mean,
it's...
give him the benefit of the doubt, I would.
I definitely...
There's a lot of it flying about at the moment. You can just pick it out of the sky.
25 seconds, Gyles, still with you. Another point, of course. Waiting rooms starting now.
I sit listlessly in those waiting rooms, flicking through the magazines, wondering what diseases I'm picking up as I turn the pages.
Graham challenge.
Surely repetition of diseases.
Yes.
Surely.
Diseases,
Coughs
yes.
and sneezes spread
Coughs and
diseases.
sneezes.
Oh, yes, yes. I was right. I didn't know it, but I was right.
And as I'm old enough, I can tell you I was alive during the war, and that was a phrase that was created during the war because they didn't want people to be off work too much because they wanted to keep the, the home front going. I
And
think
it was the same for the bubonic plague, wasn't it? He helped to stick the notices up, didn't he? He helped to stick the notices up.
I can't win with you, can I, Paul?
No.
Right, there we are. Graham, 19 seconds are still available. Graham, you've got another point, and you have the subject of waiting rooms starting now.
When I don't feel well and end up in a waiting room, I find myself flicking through back issues of Country Life magazine, and I realize I must live so that I can earn enough money to buy a castle in Scotland. But that is the only place on earth where they're advertised. Tracy...
So Graham Norton was then speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. And we're back with you to begin, Paul, and the subject is Sunset Boulevard. Tell us something about that amazing place in this game, starting now.
A place, but also a film, released in 1950, directed by Billy Wilder, starring Gloria Swanson, William Holden, Eric von Stroheim. She played the part of Norma Desmond, a faded, silent screen star who was living in one of the castles that Graham was talking about now, not in Scotland, but in Los Angeles. It was a magnificent look at the seedy side of Hollywood, rather unusual in that the story was narrated by a dead character who was played by the gentleman I mentioned earlier, who's found face down in a swimming pool right at the beginning of the film. And it is a beautifully extraordinary, dark view of what show business can do to you if you're not very lucky. She was considered a great beauty some 30 years before.
Gyles, challenge.
Repetition of film and repetition then of beauty.
Did I?
Yeah. So Gyles, well listened. You have a point, correct challenge. 19 seconds are still available. Sunset Boulevard, starting now.
Sunset Boulevard is indeed an extraordinary stretch of land running 22 miles through Los Angeles. I knew it well because of my time as a gigolo in California.
Graham, challenge.
I feel sick.
How desperate would you have to be then?
All his
Graham-
clients said, isn't that Nicholas Parsons' body?
So, Graham, I'm going to give you a bonus point anyway because we enjoyed the interruption. But have you got a challenge within the rules of just a minute?
Well, it was a deviation from me being well.
All right, benefit of the doubt. Point to you. 7 seconds available still. Sunset Boulevard, starting now.
Sunset Boulevard is, of course, a musical by Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber, which sounds like a repetition, but of course isn't. That's his actual name.
So Graham Norton was speaking then as the whistle went and gained that extra point, and he's now taken the lead. He's 1 ahead of Gyles and 2 ahead of Paul Merton, and then it's Lucy in 4th place. And Graham, it's your turn to begin as well. The subject, pigeons. We all know. It's not funny, especially if you're in Trafalgar Square and you look up. Pigeons. 60 seconds if you need it, starting now.
Pigeons. What don't I know about pigeons? Let's go, everybody. Exciting times ahead. Pigeons are birds. I'll just start there.
What?
I know. I told you, I know a lot about
The
them.
depth of your knowledge is incredible.
You've hardly scratched the surface, Paul.
Pigeons are birds.
Yes.
Wow.
So what is
There are
your
listeners
challenge,
all over the
Paul?
world. They
I
may not know
They're
that.
noting it down.
Have you got a challenge with the
No,
rules?
but he was 15 seconds going before we got to pigeons are birds. I am just paying compliment to his extensive knowledge and love of the subject.
I enjoyed what you're talking about, but it's not within the rules.
no, there's no challenge, no.
No challenge with the rules of just a minute. So, Graham, a point to you. Keep the
Pigeons.
subject. 49 seconds still available. Pigeons, starting now.
Pigeons are creatures that fly through the air.
Not only are they birds, but they fly through the air.
Yep. There's more where that came from.
Go
I'll
and give
fax
Paul
you.
a bonus point. We enjoyed all those interruptions. Graham gets a point because he was interrupted. Pigeons, Graham, and 45 seconds starting now.
Pigeons have wings, feathers, but often not as many toes as they were born with. They do.
Lucy challenge.
Just a tiny bit of hesitation, I felt. There was.
In fairness, there was a little hesitation, I thought.
It was so informative.
Lucy, a
though.
correct challenge. And you have the subject of pigeons and 34 seconds available starting now.
People describe pigeons as the rats of the air, but I think that's unfair on the rodents because they don't generally poo on your head. I once met a pigeon that stole my chips, and I was incredibly cross because I didn't know that it was a flying animal, as Graham described. I didn't...
It's a tough game, it's a tough game. So, Paul, you challenged first.
It was hesitation.
It was a
sadly.
definite hesitation. In fact, she collapsed. Paul, a correct challenge. 14 seconds available. Pigeons starting now.
I now know that pigeons are birds. They are covered in feathers and they fly all around. But if you ever find a pigeon coming towards you in an aggressive stance, looking at you with those little pigeon eyes, you can say to yourself, "Oi, mate,
So Paul Merton, speaking as the whistle went, gained an extra point. He's moved forward. It's only 1 point separating the top three. And Lucy, you're trailing a little, but it's your turn to begin. And the subject is Ringo Starr. Tell us something about that man in this game, if you can, starting now.
Ringo Starr is undoubtedly the most talented member of the Beatles because he is the only one who has voiced an animated tank engine. Ringo Starr is also known as Richard Starkey. He was born in Liverpool, I suspect. He was the drummer in the Fab Four, and Paul McCartney used to tease him. He would say, "How do you know if Ringo's at the front door? Because the knocking gets faster." Ringo Starr is married to an actress who I think was in a Bond film, although I can't quite recall the title.
Well done, Lucy. You went for nearly 28 seconds. Gyles, you challenged first.
Yes, I did. Indeed, hesitation.
You have a point. You have the subject of Ringo Starr. 28 seconds to go, starting now.
You won't be surprised to know that Ringo and I, we're mates and have been for a number of years. Nothing we enjoy more than chilling out, listening to his greatest hit, and watching marvellous old runs of Thomas the Tank Engine while eating chips and other amusing things that come from his part of the world. And we really get on like a couple of old darlings because underneath it all...
Graham challenge.
I think repetitive old.
Oh, maybe?
Yes.
Old mates.
Yes.
Old mates.
Old
Old
mates.
Darlings. Well, Graham, a correct challenge. There are still 6 seconds to go. Oh, yes.
All right. The chances of me filling them are very slim.
Ringo Starr's the subject, Graham. 6 seconds, starting now.
Long before the Beatles, the Starr family of Liverpool were quite well known as Ringo.
Oh, Paul challenge.
Well, before the Beatles, his name wasn't Starr. It was Starkey. So long before the Beatles, the Starr family, there wasn't the Starr
All right,
family.
Wikipedia.
So, Paul, you're correct. That is deviation. And anyway, you got 1 second, Paul, on Ringo Starr, starting now.
So I said to the boys...
Right. So Paul Merton with another point for speaking as the whistle went. And Gyles Brandreth, we're back with you to begin. Oh, the subject, the Mad Hatter. Tell us something about the Mad Hatter in this game, starting now.
What a wonderful and fascinating subject to be given, Nicholas, and I do thank you. The Mad Hatter, created, of course, by Charles Lutwidge Dodgson, also known as Lewis Carroll, in 1865 in his immortal work, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. The original Mad Hatter was drawn by Sir John Tenniel and sported a hat, of course, because he was a Mad Hatter, though only described in the book as a hatter, and he and another character were referred to as being mad during the Tea Party scene. The Mad Hatter's birthday, as many people know, is the 14th of March. Coincidentally, also the birthday of Albert Einstein. Repetition of birthday.
Yes, repetition of birthday.
Yeah. Why did I tell you?
I had no idea why I'd buzzed until you spoke.
I had observed it as well, so there's a correct challenge. Paul, another point to you. And there are 23 seconds available. The Mad Hatter starting now.
One thinks of the various adaptations of Alice's Adventures. Dudley Moore was in one of them. Was he the Mad Hatter? No, I think it was, in fact, Peter Sellers. No, now I say that, I think he was the March Hare or the Running Rabbit Around.
Lucy Porter challenge.
Did you say no? Like, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Sensitive.
Lucy, you have the audience with you, I can tell you that.
I got a challenge. Do I
And
go
you've got
now?
a
Is that
correct
it?
challenge. And you've got 11 seconds if you need it. The Mad Hatter starting now.
They said that.
I'll give you one more chance.
Okay, yeah,
You
no.
begin after I say now. Right. 10 seconds to go. Lucy, the Mad Hatter starting now.
They said that the Mad Hatter.
Paul challenge.
Deviation, she didn't hesitate.
The audience applause tells me you deserve a bonus point, Paul, for that. But you were interrupted, Lucy, so you get another point. You see, it all works well for you. And there are still 8 seconds available. The Mad Hatter starting now.
The Mad Hatter went mad because of mercury poisoning, so they say, which was something that afflicted hatters in the olden days, because they used to lick the rim.
So Lucy Porter was then speaking as the whistle went, gained an extra point, and she has leapt forward. She's still in 4th place. we're back with you to begin, Paul. If I could travel back in time. 60 seconds, Paul, starting now.
If I could travel back in time, perhaps the period I would most like to visit would be around 20 minutes ago. That's when I was undoubtedly at my happiest. The story had started with just a minute, everybody was equal, and then as the points were allocated, I realised that I wasn't doing as well as I sometimes did. But that's not really the reason why I would go back in time. I would like to go back to 1920s America, perhaps, be in Hollywood, walking around...
Graham challenge.
Repetition of perhaps.
Yes. Yes, you did repeat perhaps. Graham, you've got him 37 seconds to go. Another point to you, of course. You have the subject of if I could travel back in time, starting now.
If I could travel back in time, I would probably visit the 1960s and see a fresh-faced Cher. Oh, imagine what that would look like. So glistening and pure, those eyes peering out of a face that she was born with.
Charles challenge.
I know your producer. She was supposed to be a guest of yours later in the year. I thought I'd just intervene to help out.
Do you know, as I was saying it, I was thinking, do you think she listens to Radio 4?
Lack of gallantry. That is the deviation from the natural gallantry that we associate with Graham Norton.
Thank you, Gyles. You've saved me from myself.
So what is your challenge?
My challenge is he was making cheap remarks about a lady of riper years, implying that once upon a time her face was fresh and young, moist, exciting and inviting, and now it's a shriveled old thing that's been pulled about.
No, it doesn't
I think I was suggesting that.
No. Incorrect challenge. And Graham, you have 21 seconds still available. If I could travel back in time, starting now.
If I could travel back in time, I would visit the grand age of steam. That's what I'd do. Oh, to be on a train with smoke coming out of a chimney somewhere near the front. That's how they worked. I'm not an engineer. But Paul was involved. It was a different time. That's why, if I could travel back in time, that is the time.
The awful thing is they're all talking about travelling back in time, and all the times you're going to, I was there. Anyway, this is the final round.
Oh.
Yes. So I'll give you the situation as we move into the final round. It's very close. Lucy Porter's still in fourth place, but she's doing very, very well. And just ahead of her is Giles Brandreth, and then... almost equal in the lead, 1 point separating them. I won't say which way. Paul Merton and Graham Norton. And Graham Norton, it's your turn to begin. And the subject is clubbing. I don't know whether you're a clubber or not, but talk about the subject in this game starting now.
In my youth, I did enjoy clubbing. I once gave myself a black eye in my rush to get on the dance floor to enjoy Chain Reaction by Diana Ross. I flailed...
Lucy Porter challenge.
Enjoy twice there? Enjoy clubbing and
Probably.
to enjoy Diana Ross.
Enjoy, yes.
Yes.
Well,
yes, she's tasted blood.
Too much enjoyment all round. That was not...
Anyway, you got in there and you got 51 seconds if you needed. Lucy, another point to you, of course. Clubbing starting now.
I too used to enjoy clubbing in my youth, whereas now if I go to a club, I look like I'm a teacher in charge of some youths. I don't often get out these days, but when I do, the kind of club I like to go to...
Paul challenge.
Repetition of club.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a difficult game, isn't it? Paul, a correct challenge. You have another point. Your subject is clubbing. 37 seconds available, starting now.
Myself and Nicholas Parsons belong to a rather esoteric club. It's called the Was Crippin' Innocent Society. And what we do is we gather around every Wednesday afternoon and we talk to each other about that famous doctor and we decide whether he was guilty of his crimes as charged or not. And one of the great things about clubbing is that once you get together with a lot of clubbable people, you can go together wherever you want to be.
Giles challenge.
Repetition of together.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you can go together. Correct challenge, Giles. Another point to you. 15 seconds available. Clubbing starting now.
My golden clubbing days date back to the 1960s when, as a gigolo in California...
Graham.
It's happening again. It's a bit nauseous.
I would definitely interpret that as deviation. I don't ever see you as a gigolo.
In younger and happier days, when I was out clubbing, oh yes, Nicholas. We've established that I was your body double when I was a teenager.
So I don't know what to do there.
Give it to him.
Give it to him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Who's training at the moment? It won't make a blend bit of difference who I give it to, actually.
Just give it to me.
But give it...
Give it to Lucy.
Lucy, they say, give it to you. 9 seconds to go. Tell us something about clubbing starting now.
Manchester was the place that I did most of my clubbing, at the Hacienda or the PSV, or sometimes Gilly's Rock World, which was one of the most disgusting establishments you could ever possibly hope to experience.
So, the final situation, Lucy Porter, who's not played the game before, finished up almost equal, 1 point separating her and Giles Brandreth, because equal in the lead with the same number of points was Paul Merton and Graham Norton. So we say you are our joint winners this week. It only remains for me to say thank you to these 4 delightful, exciting players of the game. Paul Merton, Graham Norton, Lucy Porter and Giles Brandreth. I thank Sarah Sharp, who's helped me with the score, blown her whistle with great style. We thank our producer, Matt Strong. We're indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're deeply indebted to this lovely, generous audience here who've cheered us on our way magnificently. From them, from me, Nicholas Parsons and the team, goodbye, thank you. Tune in the next time we take to the air and we play Just a Minute! Welcome to Just a Minute. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Hello. My name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away once more, it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world. And also to welcome to the programme 4 excited, talented performers who are going to play Just a Minute. And they are, seated on my right, Paul Merton and Zoe Lyons, and seated on my left, Tony Hawkes and Cariad Lloyd. Please welcome all 4 of them. And as usual, I am going to ask them to speak in turn on the subject that I will give them, and they will try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. Beside me sits Hayley Sterling. She's going to help me with the score, run the stopwatch for me, and blow the whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. So we'll begin the show this week with Zoe Lyons. Oh, and the subject, lovely subject, the circus. Will you talk about it, Zoe? 60 seconds starting now.
I'll never forget the first time I went to the circus. It was as a child, probably about 8 years old, in rural Ireland in the 70s. Looking back, the big tent wasn't so much a majestic...
Oh, Paul challenge.
Well, hesitation, sadly.
Yeah, I'm afraid there was a stumble there.
Oh, that is harsh.
Oh.
That is that was a drawing of breath.
Oh, OK. I withdraw my challenge.
Oh, well, that was easy.
That gives me a difficulty because it was a correct challenge.
It was, wasn't it?
Well, I can give you a point for a correct challenge, but do you want to hand it back to Zoe?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, a point.
Wow.
There's still 50 seconds available, Zoe, starting now.
There weren't any clowns in that circus because it was a cheap circus. There was just a farmer who rode round on a cow with a bell on it. And there wasn't a clown's car. Instead, there was just a tractor. And that just went round in circles. I was definitely hesitating.
Paul challenge again.
Hesitation.
There's all sorts going
I don't
on
think
there,
she
Nicholas.
didn't hesitate.
No, fair enough.
She was dribbling away there like mad. But you've got 35 seconds if you need it. The circus starting now.
I'll never forget the snacks that we had at the circus. They were your traditional snacks of the day.
Cariad, you challenge.
Repetition of snacks.
Yes, that was right. That was a definite
That was definite.
repetition. So, Cariad, there are 31 seconds available. You've got your first point, and you have the subject of the circus starting now.
I think I would be good at the circus because I am small, and so when you have to get into that thing, what's it called, a cannon, and be fired out across the circus, I think I'd be a suitable person to do that, although I have high anxiety. So if you put me in the thing I mentioned before that blows up and pushes people across a surface area, I would be very scared.
Tony, you challenge.
Quite picky here. I don't think the cannon fires you across the surface area.
I think you're not a cannon expert.
That would be a faulty cannon. If you fired out, you dropped on the floor and just sort of went across. It would be a disappointing cannon in many ways.
It would be, but I was already worried about the cannon not working, so perhaps I was anticipating it was a bad cannon.
Tony, I agree with you.
I bow to the bad cannon theory.
well, depending, Cariad, but I disagree. So, Tony, a correct challenge, a point to you, and 13 seconds available. The circus starting now.
John Major allegedly ran away from the circus.
Paul, challenge.
No, he didn't.
Allegedly.
John Major didn't run away from the circus. He was never in the circus. His dad was in the circus.
But people alleged it. No. I didn't say allegedly.
No, his dad was an accountant who ran away to the circus.
People did say it quite a lot. It's quite common that people think that, isn't it?
It is quite common.
Well, two people said yes, and you're working one of them with your foot.
I think you're quite right, Paul. Shall we give you a point for a correct challenge? 10 seconds available. The circus starting now.
The first time I went to see the circus, it was Bertram Mills Circus at Olympia. I was 5 years old and absolutely enchanted by the clowns. One of them was Margaret Thatcher, and she...
Paul was speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. And Cariad, it's your turn to begin. The subject we have is pro wrestling. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
You may not think it to look at me initially, but I am an expert on pro wrestling. I understand how the ring works. I also understand what the...
Zoe, you challenge.
It's harsh, but there were two understands.
No, that's completely fair, and I respect you for it.
Thank you, Carrie.
Correct challenge, Zoe. You have a point. You have 52 seconds. You have pro wrestling starting now.
After I left rural Ireland in the 70s, I became a pro wrestler in Mexico for a time. I was very good at it. My name was Pico...
Paul, you challenge first.
An inevitable hesitation.
And I would agree with you. So another point to you, Paul. And you've got pro wrestling. And you've got 44 seconds starting now.
It was very big in this country during the 1960s. The World of Sport programme used to have a very dedicated hour to pro wrestling, commentated by Kent Wharton. And there were such stars at the time as Mick McManus, Jackie Pallow, Les Kellett. Then it fell out of favour a little bit when we had people like Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy who essentially couldn't...
Tony challenge.
Were there two peoples in there at first?
Might be, yeah. I wasn't really
people like
listening.
Mick McManus and...
Yes, he did repeat the people.
Yeah.
Tony, correct challenge, 25 seconds. Pro wrestling starting now.
Some people are very pro wrestling. I am against it. I have started a campaign to try and stop these men from stripping down into their underwear and wrestling with each other in an unseemly manner in front of an audience of baying old...
Right, Paul challenge.
But he's slowing down, isn't he? Each new word as it occurs to him takes him completely by surprise.
I don't think it's slowed enough for hesitation.
Didn't you think so?
But I'll tell you what, I'll be very fair here. We did enjoy the interruption, so give him a bonus point for that. But Tony, you were interrupted, so you get a point, and you have 6 seconds. Pro wrestling starting now.
If you were a child at school in the 70s, you used to watch this on the television and learn how to do all these moves to impress your mates.
So Tony Hawk, just speaking of the whistle, Wayne gained that extra point. And Tony, it's your turn to begin. The subject here is phobia. Tell us something about phobia in this game, starting now.
I am agoraphobic and claustrophobic, which means I'm afraid of places that are medium-sized, which means I'm...
Cariad, challenge one.
Repeat of which means.
I heard
There was which means. There was two which means.
Oh, yes, I think I did. I said agoraphobic.
Yes,
no,
well done. Yeah, well done.
Is anybody recording this? That's the only way to solve these disputes.
Some of us had a group hallucination, which means,
No, you're right. You're well listened.
Let's give it to Cariad anyway, because I really run out of things to say after 6 seconds.
Right. Cariad, well listened. There are 52 seconds still available. Tell us something about phobia, starting now.
I have a phobia. The phobia that I have is claustrophobia. And the reason I have this is my
Paul Challenge.
Well, there was 3 I haves.
Yeah.
Oh,
very
yes.
quickly.
All the correct challenge, and there are 45 seconds available. Phobia, starting now.
I have a phobia about balloons bursting around me. I think this stems from the fact that when I was about 18 months old, I was holding a balloon in my hand.
Oh, no, wrong. I withdraw. It was balloons and balloon.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
These things don't happen by accident.
So he did press the buzzer.
Yes.
Incorrect challenge. And there are 38 seconds available, Paul, for you on Phobia, starting now.
Balloony orbs always frighten me. He's a Dutch folk musician. Never liked any of his albums, Balloony orbs.
Yeah, there was a hesitation, I would say, at the enjoyment of the words balloony orbs.
Balloony orbs.
So, Cariad, there are 34 seconds still available. You tell us something about Phobia, starting now.
I don't like getting in lifts because they are small. I worry that the lift will...
No, I think you're right.
No, lift and lift.
Sorry, that was me, I think.
So, an incorrect challenge. Get a point and keep the subject. 29 seconds. Phobia, starting now.
I also don't like spiders. The reason...
Tony challenge.
Repetition of don't like.
Yes, because you said I don't like before.
lifts.
Of course, and you have to remember what you've said.
That's right. You don't like lifts. Quite rightly, because, as you said, they're small.
They're small.
So, Tony, correct challenge. 27 seconds still available. Phobia, starting now.
I have a phobia of trying to talk for a minute without hesitating, deviating, or repeating any words, or indeed, as has been added by...
Cariad's challenge.
Repetition of awe.
Yeah.
Well done, Cariad. Well listened. And you've got 19 seconds. You've got the subject back. Phobia, starting now.
My worst fear is when anyone mentions numbers. If someone is saying to me, Cariad, what is 8 times 7? I have no idea at all because my number skills...
Zoe, challenge first.
Numbers there.
Numbers.
2 numbers.
That's how you say it in Welsh.
Numbers.
Numbers.
You didn't quite get it out, but we knew it was coming, and she challenged there, so we give you hesitation, Zoe. 9 seconds available. Phobias, starting now.
I have a phobia about certain types of furniture. I do not like glass coffee tables because I hate the sound that cups make when they hit the
So Zoe Lyons was then speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. She has moved forward. She's still in 4th place, but she's moved. Out in the lead is Tony Hawks and Paul Merton, equal, 2 points ahead of Cariad, Lloyd, and then 1 point behind that is Zoe. Paul Merton, we're back with you to begin. The subject, private investigators. Tell us something about those characters in this game, starting now.
There are many private investigators in fiction. One thinks of Sherlock Holmes, Sexton Blake, Philip Marlowe. Sherlock's stories were narrated by...
Tony Challenge.
Repetition of Sherlock.
Yes, Sherlock.
No, Sherlock's. Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock's.
Oh, is that what you said?
I'm afraid it's happened again.
Well, we're quite
As I said before, these things don't happen by accident.
So, Tony, an incorrect challenge, I'm afraid, yes? Another point to Paul Merton, and 52 seconds available, Paul. Private investigators starting now.
One thinks of Humphrey Bogart as the hard-boiled American detective in stories originally created by Raymond Chandler. He was a fantastic investigator. He would go up to people and say, "What's happening? Do you know this man? Have I ever bought a pair of shoes in this town before?" And this was normally when he was drunk. But sometimes he would have beautiful women come into his office and demand that he find a missing husband, somebody who had run away with all the goods that they had in the house, and they no longer knew where he lived. Was it Sacramento? Perhaps it was somewhere like Seattle. And this hard-boiled...
Tony Challenge.
Repetition of hard-boiled.
I was trying to think if I had said it before or not.
It's so easy not to say hard-boiled.
So, Tony, a correct challenge. 13 seconds are still available. You tell us something about private investigators starting now.
One of the private investigators I grew up with, not in the home, you must understand, but on television, was Jim Rockford. I think that was his name, from the files that were named after him. And
Paul Challenge.
Sadly, repetition of name.
Yes, you did repeat the
may have
name. Yes, and you have... you've only 3 seconds to go.
Oh.
And private investigators, back with you, starting now.
Each one of those seconds was a minute, that would mean that a hard-boiled...
So Paul Merton, speaking as the whistle went, gained an extra point. And he's taken the lead at the end of that round. Zoe Lyons, will you begin the next round? Cockney rhyming slang. Well, that's got a nice little free sauce in the audience. I don't know, because they might be expecting something rather unusual. So let's do it. 60 seconds if you need it.
Seconds, it'll be rather unusual, Nicholas.
Zoe, 60 seconds if you need it, starting now.
We're all familiar with the most examples of... No, that was a fault. That was... Oh.
Tony, you challenge first.
She was a bit cocky with the 8 seconds, I thought.
Not even make it to 8 seconds.
No.
Not
Point
actually
one and
what that
point
was.
4 of a second, and then a hesitation.
It wasn't a hesitation, it was actually Cockney rhyming slang for a hesitation. That's what I was doing there.
Tony, a correct challenge. 57 seconds available. Cockney rhyming slang, starting now.
I am quite likely to speak a lot of pony and trap now, but please forgive me. One particular kind of Cockney rhyming slang I'm very fond of is the one Adam and Eve it, which is actually using it to go with a verb. To believe. Most of them are around nouns. That may interest you greatly as you...
Paul challenge.
No, it doesn't.
So I've got to give you a bonus point for that
No,
one,
I don't
Paul.
want one. Another one, yeah. Well, if you want one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think you should take it.
Okay, then.
All right.
Fair enough.
But a point to Tony, because he was interrupted.
Yeah.
Cockney rhyming slang is still with you, Tony. 36 seconds if you need it, starting now.
As we made our way to the stage at this beautiful radio theatre, we performers had to come up the apples and pears, jostling a little bit because we're quite competitive, and no, we weren't.
Cariad, you challenge.
Lies, that did not happen.
There was no jostling. That would have been a terrible thing if we jostled before
There was no
this
jostling.
show.
And
No, but you were right when you were saying that some of this would be pony and trap.
Cariad, you haven't played the game as much, and so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. So, Cariad, you've got 22 seconds if you need it on Cockney rhyming slang, starting now.
My mother is a Cockney. She was born in the wonderful borough of East Ham, I believe is how people call it these days. It has the same name. And she likes to speak Cockney rhyming slang to me. I am often confused by what she is saying when she refers to apples and pears. Or am I allowed to say it? If he said it, I couldn't remember.
Tony said apple and pears earlier, is that?
I know, but she hasn't.
I hadn't said it.
Oh, is that... Oh, I really need to read the manual.
But he has explained what it means, so Cariad no longer needs to be confused. She's learned something today.
I wasn't listening to Tony.
No, that's quite right.
So, an incorrect challenge, Cariad. You have another point, and you've only got 5 seconds left. Cockney rhyming slang, starting now.
It is a wonderful vernacular to listen to because mainly you do not understand what is being said.
Right. So, very interesting situation. Cariad is moving forward rapidly. She's only 2 or 3 points behind our leader, Paul Merton, and then Tony Hawks, and Cariad, and then Zoe in that order. Cariad, Lloyd, it's also your turn to begin. And the subject now is the famous 5. Can you tell us something about the famous 5 in this game, starting now?
The famous 5 were a lively group of children who were created by the author Enid Blyton. I was not a fan of the famous 5. I liked the Secret 7. I can't tell you exactly why I preferred the 2 extra tiny people, but I did. They seemed more exciting and adventurous than the 5. The 5 seemed to do picnics, have a dog, and not be quite clear on their own sexual preferences. The 7 seemed to like...
Tony, challenge.
Repetition of 7.
7, yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
you're right. Tony, correct challenge. 33 seconds available. The famous 5, starting now.
I like to think of the famous 5 as being Benjamin Franklin, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and Nigel Farage. There's anybody here who would really disagree with me. They were a wonderful 5. There was a band called 5 as well. Unfortunately, they were 5 in that band. Otherwise, we would have been furious, wouldn't we, if that had happened?
Paul.
Repetition of band. There was a band called 5, and there was 5 in that band.
Yes. Well, listen, Paul. 10 seconds available, starting now.
When breakfast TV started on the commercial network, it had a famous 5. Michael Parkinson, Robert Key, Anna Ford, Angela Rippon, and David Frost were seen as the individuals...
This show does play tricks with your memory, and Paul, it didn't then with you. You've got an extra point for speaking as a whistle when you're still in the lead, 2 ahead of Tony Hawks and then Cariad, Lloyd and Zoe Lyons in that order. And Tony Hawks, we're back with you to begin. Jacques Cousteau. Can you tell us something about Jacques Cousteau in this game, starting now?
Those of us who grew up watching television in the 70s had the exotic Jacques Cousteau on their screens, whereas the British could only really provide someone like John Noakes to compete, which wasn't the same. He didn't go underwater enough, in my view. Whereas the great Jacques Cousteau used to put these things on his back and go in the water.
Paul Challenge.
Well, he's losing the will to live, isn't he? Repetition of water.
He did repeat water, yes. There are 36 seconds for you, Paul, on Jacques Cousteau, starting now.
As I swim towards the great squid, his evil eye looks at me. I don't know why I'm talking like that. He wasn't from Spain. He wasn't from Spain.
Cariad challenge.
It's a deviation from the French language.
Yes.
It was English.
That's a tough one, but it is correct, all right. Jacques Cousteau is with you.
Oh, God.
And there are 29 seconds available, starting now.
If you grew up watching television in the 1980s, then the words Jacques Cousteau mean very little to you. He sounds like a lovely man who liked going underwater and wearing diving equipment. I've not been diving, but
Oh, Tony challenge.
Yes, repetition of diving.
Yes, too much diving.
Oh, this gives you another chance.
15 seconds, Tony.
How many?
15.
He'll never do it.
15, can you do it, Tony?
Yes, he can. I believe he can do
Cousteau, starting now.
Oh, look, there is a giant squid.
Paul.
Well, if I got buzzed, then Tony gets buzzed for his French accent.
All right, give him a bonus point, but I don't think he wasn't hesitating or deviating in any other way. He was just speaking French very badly. So, Tony, still with you. 12 seconds. Jacques Cousteau, starting now.
I wonder if people in the audience will agree with me on this, but I think he got lazy towards the end of his career and didn't go in the water very much on his...
Paul challenge.
Repetition of water.
Paul, you cleverly got him with 3 seconds to go. Jacques Cousteau is with you, Paul, starting now.
As I dive deep into the ocean, there...
Paul Merton, speaking as the whistle went then, gained that extra point. And Paul, we're back with you to begin. The subject, practical jokes. Tell us something about those in this game, starting now.
Well, I sometimes think there's an element of bullying to practical jokes. Some are quite brilliant. There was a practical jokester called Horace de Vere Cole around about the turn of the last century. And he was very adept at inventing all kinds of practical jokes. One which was very familiar...
Tony.
When did he do this, Paul? Because the turn of the last century was 2000.
No, that was the turn of this century. The turn of the last century... was 1900.
No, you...
That was the last century, you see. That was the turn of the last century.
I've no idea now on this.
No, what Paul said is quite right.
Is it?
The turn of the last century was 1800 to 1900.
And you're talking to somebody there who celebrated it.
I think this audience is awful. You applaud that. Paul, incorrect challenge. Another point. Practical jokes, 44 seconds are starting now.
Some people do things like...
Tony challenge.
Repetition of people.
Yes, thank
Oh,
goodness
yes,
for
you
that.
did mention people before, Paul.
Absolutely.
42 seconds available. Practical jokes starting now.
A horse walks into a bar, 4 faults. That is an example of a practical joke, not...
Paul challenge.
What? Explain that again, yeah. A horse walks into a bar. Oh, I see.
Yeah, you see.
I've got the joke now.
I haven't.
Well, a horse walks into a bar, not like a public bar, but like, well, they don't really call them bars, but in sort of show jumping, there's fences.
Yeah. The
So
bar on the fence.
But I
you
wouldn't
see.
call that a practical joke.
No, neither would I. That's why I'm challenging.
It's quite an impractical joke in that it doesn't get any laughs.
Yes. Well, it only works if you don't call it a fence and call it a bar instead.
Well, they are bars
It's a pole,
across
isn't
the...
it?
It's a pole. It's a pole.
It's a pole.
It's a pole deer.
Well, it doesn't work if a horse walks into a pole.
No.
Well, it'd be a different punchline.
It doesn't work anyway, in many ways. Anyway, it was an incorrect challenge. Tony, you have 44 seconds.
And anyway, in show jumping, the horse is running. It's not walking. They don't walk over the fences, do they? They need a ladder.
But he didn't establish that he was racing anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have been in the stable.
Well, what? Which way are you heading?
Paul, I agree with you anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So you have the subject.
Poor horse.
And you have the 35 seconds available. Practical jokes starting now.
Horse walks into a bar and he got 4 faults. Got a bigger laugh that time.
Deviation.
So deviation
From the subject, because he established that was... that's how he got the subject in the first. Look, if you rule against me now, the audience will be furious.
Yeah,
Don't worry, Tony. No, I get your point.
Yeah, exactly.
32 seconds available, starting now.
For a practical joke, I once dressed up as a horse and walked into a...
So you challenge.
Well, there was a repetition of horse.
Yeah, and walked into a bar.
So you
For a pretty
challenge
pathetic
first.
joke, he's getting a lot of coverage.
Yeah, for practical. And Zoe, 28 seconds with you now on practical jokes starting now.
I am not very good at talking for a minute on any subject, and I think as a practical joke, the BBC have booked me on this...
Wait a minute, Paul, challenge.
Repetition of B.
No, you can say B and repetition of B.
I mean, that is...
Right. 21 seconds, Paul. Practical jokes starting now.
21 seconds soon becomes 19 in my experience, as I'm going to address you on the subject of practical jokes. Perhaps one of the finest exponents of the practical joke was my great-grandfather. One morning, he turned to all the family and announced that the bowl of sugar that we'd been using for the past 5 years was actually David Dimbleby.
And we're moving into the final round. Zoe Lyons, who's only played the game infrequently, is in 4th place, but a very strong 4th place. But she was a point or two behind Cariad Lloyd. She's a few points behind Tony Hawks, because in the lead is Paul Merton. And Zoe, it's your turn to begin. And then subject I have here is earplugs. Tell us something about earplugs in this game, starting now.
As a jobbing comedian, I often spend many of my weekends away from home in less than lugubrious hotels, budget motels mostly, and I am in exuberant places of the planet that are loud at night, and I cannot sleep. So in order to aid my rest, I have to use earplugs. Now, I often forget my earplugs, so I have to fashion some earplugs out of what is available in the room. I have in the past used bits of rolled up newspaper that I have scrunched into my lug holes in an attempt to keep out the baying crowds of drunkards in the street, noisily singing and playing with each other in inappropriate ways on a late hour of the night. I have also had to use bits of cotton wool bud that I have then rolled into neat little plug-type bits.
Well, you went for 49 seconds.
Oh, it felt so much longer than that.
Yeah. But give her a bonus point for 49 seconds. Because it's not going to make any difference to the position.
No.
Paul, you challenge first.
Well, hesitation, Taylor.
Yes, and sadly. Paul, you have another point for a correct challenge. You've got earplugs. 11 seconds to go, starting now.
Each member of the audience were given a pair of earplugs before this recording started. I would now ask you to put them in, as I can...
Tony, you challenge.
There was a hesitation.
So, Tony, you cleverly got in. Not that it'll make a lot of difference. With 4 seconds to go, earplugs starting now.
I have just put some earplugs in, which means if anybody challenges...
And I'll give you the final score now. Zoe Lyons, who hasn't played the game as much as others, came in a very strong 4th place. And then just ahead of her was Cariad Lloyd playing for the first time, and just a little way ahead of that was Tony Hawks, and Tony was 3 or 4 points behind our leader, Paul Merton. So we say, Paul, you are the winner this week. It only remains for me to say thank you to these 4 delightful players of the game, Paul Merton, Zoe Lyons, Cariad Lloyd, and Tony Hawks. I thank Hayley Sterling, who's helped me with the score and blown her whistle with such style when the 60 seconds elapsed. We thank our producer, Matt Strong. We're indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're deeply indebted to this lovely audience here. From me, Nicholas Parsons, and the team, thank you. Tune in again the same time when we play Just a Minute. Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world. And to welcome to the programme four exciting, talented individuals who are going to show their skill with words and language as they try and speak on the subject that I give them, and they try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And they are, seated on my right, Paul Merton and Jenny Eclair, and seated on my left, Gyles Brandreth and Kerry Godliman. Please welcome all four of them. Beside me sits Sarah Sharp, who's going to help me with the score. She's going to blow the whistle and run the stopwatch for me. And we begin the show this week with Gyles Brandreth. Gyles, the Mississippi. Tell us something about that amazing river in this game, starting now.
The rolling Mississippi. Not many people know that years ago I was roadie to a girl band known as Pussycat. They came from Holland and recorded a number, Mississippi, that was a sequel, really, to the Bee Gees' Massachusetts. And we went on a tour from the state of Mississippi to New Orleans along the Mississippi. And during this, I formed a relationship with one of these beautiful people who we called Mississippi because that was a kind of code word that we had between us. And on this great and extraordinary flow of water, the Mississippi, the rolling wheels of the boat...
Paul, challenge.
Did we have rolling before? At the beginning
I think you did have rolling before. I'm so pleased the audience play along with
I think that was Lord Reef, wasn't it?
So that was confirmation from the audience as well. And it was a repetition of rolling. Paul, a correct challenge. A point to you for that. And you take over. It's 21 seconds available. The Mississippi starting now.
The Mississippi is married to George Ippy, and she's a lovely woman. And I remember saying to her once, I bet you can roll all the way down the hill. And the Mississippi, I remember thinking to myself, I would love to swim in its cool waters, perhaps upstream, maybe down, and feel myself embroiled in that beautiful liquid up to my ears.
In this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point. And on this occasion, it was Paul Merton, so he's in the lead at the end of the round. Anyway, Kerry Godliman, will you begin the next round? The subject, a bargain. Talk about one or many, starting now.
I enjoy a bargain, and sometimes I have purchased things that don't quite fit me because I got it on a special offer, which is fine for some garments, but not great for shoes. I have been known to squeeze my size 5 feet into a 3 or 4, which is agony when you go to a discotheque and dance around all the different people with the normal shoes on.
Oh, Jenny Townsend.
Shoes,
yes.
I'd have done exactly the same. And I have done exactly the same.
We've all
I'm
been
a
there.
size 5.
We probably were at the same disco.
Yes.
It's the national average.
Really?
Apparently so.
I always look at my feet and think, how dainty.
No, they're the national average. That's why it's really hard to get a 5 in
Women
a
in
sale.
here with a size 2 then. And
Anybody
some
else
with a
got
9.
any words about the shoes? All right, Jenny, correct challenge. 36 seconds available. A bargain starting now.
The last time I bought a bargain, it was a bumper pack of lavatory roll. 100 of them for 50p. Trouble was, I had to carry the lot home. And everyone was looking at me as if to say, poor cow, must have a terrible bowel condition. Hope she gets back to her house without any nasty accidents. Of course, many things turn out not to be bargains in the end. This is when the adage, buy cheap.
Was that the end of the adage, buy cheap?
It was buy cheap, buy twice, and I knew what I was going to do.
So, Paul, you've got him with 5 seconds to go. A correct challenge, a point to you. A bargain is the subject, starting now.
As I stood in front of the Rolls Royce, I looked in my pocket and I realised I had just...
Right. So, who was speaking then when the whistle went? Paul Merton. And he's naturally taken the lead at the end of the round. And Jenny Eclair would like you to begin the next round, keeping a secret. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
I'm the last person you should tell a secret to. I can't even keep my own. When I was a teenager, I used to write down everything awful that I'd done in my diary, which meant that within 24 hours, my mum and sister had read it and I'd be in such trouble. I'm the type of person you tell something and it goes round like impetigo in a children's playground. I've got what they call a baggy mouth, secrets drop from my lips. Don't tell me anything. The last thing I want to hear is, whatever you do, do not speak of this to any other living soul. This is just red rag to a bull. Say a girl tells me she snogged another woman's boyfriend. I can't wait to see Hillary and tell her about her fabulous friend.
Paul challenge.
Repetition of tell.
Yes.
No doubt.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did that disappoint you?
No, you did go for 49 seconds.
What did Hillary say when you told her about the...
Well, she said she knew she was a slag anyway and she'd always hated her.
I knew it.
I said, that's what I wrote on the toilet wall, love. You can see it.
Right. So, Paul, you have...
I wish I'd let you carry on now.
You have 11 seconds, Paul. You've got another point for that, of course. Keeping a secret, starting now.
As I looked into the eyes of Nicholas Parsons, with the midday sun beating down upon our brows, I kissed him fully on the lips. I said, between you and I, this must remain a secret.
And no one challenged for deviation.
It's perfectly acceptable these days.
It may be acceptable, but it didn't happen.
Oh. Thank you very much.
So, Paul, you're outrageous, but they love it. You have a point for speaking as the whistle went, and where were you to begin? Oh. And the subject is limericks. Tell us something about limericks in this game, starting now.
There is a limerick I've said before in this programme, so I will be guilty of repetition, but as it was a different show, perhaps it's okay. There was a young man from Bombay who took a slow boat to the Far East one day. He was pinned to the tiller by a sex-starved gorilla, and China's a bloody long way. Of course, I think this tells us a great deal about the interaction between humans and the animal kingdom. Edward Lear was a great exponent of the limerick, and our esteemed chairman has performed a one-man show about him over the years, although the aforementioned author did do his...
Gyles challenge.
Little hesitation, given Paul's normally high standards. The mouse got a little bit...
I think you're desperate to get in, aren't you? I don't think there was any hesitation.
No, of course not.
No, of course.
So ridiculous.
No.
That's fine. I'll remember to mention your one-man show as well when it's my turn.
Paul, an incorrect challenge. You have a point. 28 seconds available. Limericks starting now.
There is something very pleasing about a good limerick. We like the rhythm and the rhymes, and if the words...
Oh.
Now, that was a hesitation, sure.
That was a hesitation,
thank
Gyles, so you've got a point. And you have...
And can I say, the show is one of the best things I've ever seen. You bring Lear to life. I mean, I thought it was going to be King Lear, but it turned out to be Edward Lear, and it was still very enjoyable. Fewer laughs, but still very good.
Gyles, behave yourself. 22 seconds available. Limericks starting now.
There was a young man from Peru whose limerick stopped at line 2, which is why I can't go on with that one. The limerick is furtive and mean. You must keep her in close quarantine, or she slips to the slums and quickly becomes disgusting, revolting, and mean. That is the problem with so many limericks, which hail originally.
Kerry, you've challenged.
What word did that you say at the end there?
It was a bit of a hesitation.
It was,
You're right.
It was
You're
chaos.
Right.
It was chaos.
It was. I was trying...
Yeah,
I was. I was channeling Paul.
I thought there was something happening over here. I blamed it on the seat.
Kerry, Godliman, you got in cleverly with 2 seconds to go. You have 2 seconds if you want it on limericks starting now.
The rules of limericks are...
At the end of that round, Paul Merton's in the lead, and Kerry, we'll ask you to begin the next round. The subject now is junk mail. Junk mail starting now.
I've got a sticker on my letterbox that says, no junk mail, please, but people seem to not see it because they insist on putting pizza leaflets through my door. I shouldn't be too cruel about that, as I used to have a job where I had to deliver junk mail into people's homes. And one day I was walking down the street and happened upon a burning bin. And it seemed really not a good idea to not burn all the junk mail.
Oh. Jenny, challenge.
Sorry, I thought she said this not
No,
twice.
she said burning and burn.
No, it was something else, and I apologise, Kerry, and I would like to donate a point for an incorrect...
Well, she's got a point anyway, because it's an incorrect challenge. So an incorrect challenge, you've got another point, you keep the subject, and there are 34 seconds, Kerry, junk mail starting now.
Sometimes I look in my junk mail, in my email, and it's like living in the upside down because there's all these junk mails about things that I have no kind of interest in, like claims that I haven't made and prizes that I haven't won.
Oh, Paul challenge.
A quick repetition of haven't.
Yes.
Very well spotted. Well done.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, a correct challenge, a point. And junk mail's with you, 19 seconds starting now.
I picked the leaflet off the doormat. It said in big, bold, red letters, have you got a hidden history in your life? Do you wish to look back down your family tree and see what your great-uncle was up to? Or perhaps an aunt from many centuries ago may have been...
Giles challenge.
There's an awful lot of big, bold lettering on this little leaflet to encompass this.
I never said little.
You did. I picked it up off the floor.
I didn't say little leaflet.
It was clearly a leaflet. You talked about...
I said it was on the doormat. It actually fitted the size of the doormat.
How could it have got through the letterbox if it fitted the size of the doormat? You spoke specifically of the big, bold lettering. If you'd just given us the headline, that was fine, and then specified that there was detail in a smaller typeface. But no, this was at least 38 points, or more likely, I'd say 80 points, the
Giles,
typeface, big and bold.
Please,
There's no question that...
take one of your pills, quickly. You made your point, but I don't think it was justified. So, Paul, another point to you. And, 2 seconds to go. Junk mail starting now.
Scrap metal.
Well, we're going around and all over the place with these subjects this week. At the end of that round, Paul's increased his lead. And Jenny Eclair, it's your turn to begin. The subject, charity shops. Charity shops, 60 seconds, starting now.
I love a good mooch around a charity shop because you never know what you're going to find, apart from those soggy gum children's toys full of germs in the corner. What I'm after is cashmere. In fact, I've been thinking of volunteering in my local charity shop so that I can get first dibs on the stuff that comes in. But you know what I'm after? A Chanel jacket in a size 14. That would do me. Of course, people that have been doing the Marie Kondo thing have filled up our charity shops recently. This is the Japanese girl who says, if an item doesn't spark joy in your life, you must discard it. Hence, charity shops now are closing their doors against your bin liners full of stuff that you've condoed out your gaff.
Repetition of condo.
I thought it was condo and condoed.
What was your
the
challenge?
repetition of the word condo, first of all a condo girl, and then the word condo later. There was no condoed. Condo and condo was repeated. A quick playback of this, and people do enjoy his seat again, will establish the truth, so I'm quite happy to see the point now and enjoy the satisfaction on a Monday evening and on a Sunday morning when I listen and think to myself, yes, I was right, the people didn't like me being right, but that's the way it was.
Paul.
Just trying to stop him.
I know. You have a correct challenge. You don't need to emphasise it. And you have 10 seconds on charity shops starting now.
I found the first edition of one of my books in a charity shop, inscribed by me. It said, to my darling mum and dad, thank you for Well done.
So, Giles Brandreth was speaking then as whistle went, gained that extra point. He's moved forward. He's still in second place. Paul's out in the lead, and he begins the next round. Mugs, that's the subject. Paul, tell us something about mugs in this game, starting now.
Mugs is an anagram of gums.
Jenny, you've challenged.
Oh, it was a hesitation. It was a lovely line, but then he didn't say anything else.
That's all I've got to say. It is also an anagram of smug, but I didn't want to show off.
Jenny, correct challenge. Mugs, 56 seconds, starting now.
Oh, God.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's hesitation, sadly, isn't it? I feel your pain. I do. I feel your pain.
I think it was quite clear.
He did, yeah.
You just muttered it, Nicholas.
No, he didn't.
I don't mutter really in this game. Listen, the audience can be the judge. I did say it quite clearly, didn't I? Yes. There you are.
Wow.
So, Paul, the correct challenge. You've got it back again with your mugs. And 55 seconds starting now.
Smug is a word that you can make out of mugs as well. I have a collection of mugs at home, variously described with such words as an Japanese for... Oh. Why has he interrupted me, Nicholas?
I don't know. Why have you interrupted him?
Because that little bit of gobbledygook was really hesitation, cleverly covered by expecting it to be Japanese.
But he didn't hesitate, repeat, or deviate.
Deviated
All
from
three,
English
I think,
language.
simultaneously.
I understood what he was saying.
Oh, did you? I don't know if I mentioned this, Nicholas, but I once saw a marvellous show you did about Eddie of the Year. I think it needs revival.
43 seconds, Giles.
Oh, what's the subject again?
No, don't tell him. Don't tell him.
It's mugs
he told
starting
him.
now.
Oh, mugs! Now, the origin of this word is quite interesting. It goes back to the 16th century. It comes from Scandinavia, mugga. And the reason we call it about our face...
You said it was quite interesting. I didn't find it interesting at all. Bored rigid I was. 16th century Scandinavia, leave it out, governor.
Well, it could be interesting to Giles, but...
Yeah, not to me, though.
Boring to you.
I didn't say it was quite interesting. I didn't say it was very interesting.
I can't give points for people's inclination or feeling.
No, that's absolutely right.
Right. So Giles and Marie gets the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
34 seconds, Giles. Mugs starting now.
The Toby Jug has a curious visage, like Mr. Punch, and it was because mugs had these in those Nordic parts that we used the word for face, mugs. That is how it came about. I love anagrams. I admire Paul for the genius with which he took the letters M, U, G, and S and then transformed them into other words, such
Kerry,
as...
challenged.
You said and then and quite. You said and then and. But is that really petty?
No. If it's you, it's all right.
Is that? Thank you.
Kerry, he's being generous to you and said you've got a correct challenge. So you get a point for that. 13 seconds available. Mugs starting now.
I get given mugs as gifts, and I often think that's because someone lacks the imagination to think of something more interesting to give. It's...
Giles.
Oh, no. Think and think.
And give.
I
right.
think.
Think and think and give and give.
5 seconds, Giles. Another point to you. Mugs starting now.
Oh, mugs, I've got a complete collection of them with different French authors. Jules Verne.
So, Giles Brandreth, speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point and has moved forward, but he still hasn't caught Paul Merton, who's in the lead. Then comes Kerry Godliman and Jenny Eclair in that order. And Gyles, we're going to continue hearing from you because it's your turn to begin. And the subject now is friends.
Friends?
Friends. What do you think I said, Paul?
Yeah, no, I look forward to this one.
Friends, Gyles. 60 seconds if you need it. Starting now.
From quiet homes and first beginning, out to the undiscovered ends, there's nothing worth the wear of winning but laughter and the love of friends, are lines from Hilaire Belloc's dedicatory ode. And of course, they encapsulate the joys of friendship. Friends, I've had a few. Not perhaps as many as I might have liked, but there you go. And I cherish my friends. I love them, particularly, it must be said, Mr. and Mrs. Parsons. Annie was obviously my mistress for a number of years, but it developed into friends. That's what we are now.
Right, yeah.
Annie, is this true? You've been unfaithful to me? She gets about a bit, doesn't she?
She is in the audience and they're embarrassing her no end, I can tell.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's enjoying it, I don't know. But Kerry, you challenge first.
I just thought that was
Deviation.
a deviation. Yes, it was a deviation.
Absolute
Nicholas.
deviation, yes.
Thank
I know Annie quite well.
But not as well as you think.
Yeah.
But I know
She
her
goes to
taste.
bingo on a Wednesday, don't you?
Kerry, you have 25 seconds. Tell us something about friends starting now.
In olden times, it was normal to maybe have 3 or 4 friends, and that was about enough. But now in modern times, you...
Oh, Jenny, you challenge.
Times.
Yes, times. You have friends, Jenny? I know you've
Not
got
many.
friends, but that's the subject. 18 seconds starting now.
Friends are great, aren't they? Because you can borrow clothes and money off them. I like the ones you don't have to see very often, but still enjoy their company when you do after a decade or so. So that's kind of...
Paul challenge.
Very clumsy.
Well, yes, it's sort of a sort of deviation.
Yes.
Yes.
Deviation from speech.
From speaking, yes. Friends or Sue. I mean, there was an odd word there, so it was.
I was talking about my friend Sue, but...
Yes. Sort of hesitation and deviation.
Right, 6 seconds, Paul. Another point to you. Friends starting now.
As I scanned my eyes towards the horizon, I saw my friends coming towards me in alphabetical order.
So Paul Merton, speaking as a whistle went, has surged forward. He's overtaken Giles Brandreth. He's now in the lead. And then come Kerry, Godliman and Jenny Eclair in that order. And Kerry, we're back with you to begin. The subject is working from home. 60 seconds if you need it, starting now.
Working from home can be hazardous because I am an expert procrastinator. I will do all kinds of chores that I would otherwise try and avoid. For example, flossing behind the radiators. That can take up to 4 hours.
Who challenged?
I did. Is it physically possible to floss behind a radiator?
Yes.
How big is your radiator gap?
It's big enough for flossing.
It's big enough for you to crouch behind with some...
You can get some old knickers out with a floss.
I thought you only flossed your teeth.
No, when you're procrastinating, you can floss anything.
I'm liking it. I'd give her the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not sure I know, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, all right. Anyway, working from home is still with you, Kerry. 39 seconds starting now.
You have to be very disciplined and not watch all your favourite programmes on the television. And you have to focus on what your task is. Sometimes I find it's good to go for a little walk and then a slightly longer one and then postpone going home altogether, which makes it very difficult to do the things you're supposed to do.
Paul challenge.
Hesitation, sadly.
Yes,
Yes.
sadly. Paul, there are 20 seconds still available. You tell us something about working from home, starting now.
Many years ago, I took up the
Jenny, you challenge.
Hesitation.
So, Jenny, there are still 16 seconds available. Working from home, starting now.
I love working from home because you don't have to do any work at all and nobody knows. You don't even have to get dressed. I sit there in my pants, just pretend to write another book. In actual fact, I'm looking at Twitter and trying to engage with other people when I
So, Jenny Eclair was speaking as the whistle went. Gained that extra point. And, we're moving into the final round, by the way. I'll give you the situation if we do that. Paul Merton's still in the lead. He's a few points ahead of Giles Brandreth, who's 3 or 4 points ahead of Kerry Godliman, and she's 1 point ahead of Jenny Eclair. And that is the situation. And Jenny, it's your turn to begin. And the subject is a character here, the Artful Dodger. I'm sure you know about him. Let's talk about him. 60 seconds are starting now.
I once went to a fancy dress party as the Artful Dodger. Very easy. All you need is a pair of raggedy breeches, oversized white shirt, little waistcoat, top hat. By the end of the evening, I'd nicked quite a lot of money because I was in character as the Artful Dodger, pickpocketing around my close friends, dipping handbags. I earned 67 quid that night.
You stole 67 quid.
Yeah, but that's what I've been doing all my career. You call it work.
You didn't earn it.
It was quite hard work, built up a sweat.
No, you stole it, so it's deviation. You didn't earn the money, did you?
I think...
I was in character, though.
Oh,
I
yes.
was in my Artful Dodger, nicking stuff. That was me job, wasn't it, Gov?
Was he from Tokyo?
I think Paul has a legitimate point. The Artful Dodger doesn't earn his money, he steals it. So, correct challenge, Paul. Well interpreted. 27 seconds available. Tell us something about the Artful Dodger starting now.
In the 1940s film, the character was played by Anthony Newley, who was a very successful child actor who went on to become a huge star. In the version that had been made many years later, there was the musical, the...
Jenny challenge. Hesitation, yes.
Yes,
The Artful Dodger's back with you, Jenny. 16 seconds available, starting now.
In that version, the Artful Dodger was in fact played by a young kid by the name of Jack Wild.
Paul challenge.
So hesitation?
No. She took a deep breath and
Took a
didn't
deep
get
breath
it out
and
in
didn't say
time.
anything. Right, fair enough.
Incorrect challenge, Jenny. You still have the subject. 8 seconds. The Artful Dodger starting now.
Of course, originally it was written by Charles Dickens, and it was about a gang of street urchins who...
So, let me give you the final score for those interested in the points. Kerry Godliman came in a very strong 4th place, very strong. But she was only 2 points behind Jenny Eclair, who was 1 point behind Gyles Brandreth, and Gyles was a few points behind Paul Merton, who was out in the lead. So we say this week, Paul, you are our winner. It only remains me to say thank you to these 4 fine, exciting, humorous players of the game, Paul Merton, Jenny Eclair, Kerry Godliman, and Gyles Brandreth. I thank Sarah Sharp, who's helped me with the score, blown her whistle so delicately. We're indebted to our producer, Matt Strong. We're deeply indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're indebted to this lovely audience here, who've cheered us on our way magnificently. From them, from me, Nicholas Parsons, goodbye. And tune in when we take to the air and we play Just a Minute. Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. My name is Nicholas Parsons. And as the minute's waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world. And welcome to the programme for exciting, talented players who are going to show their skill with words and language as they speak on the subject that I give them. And they try and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And those 4 clever young people are, on my right, Paul Merton and Graham Norton, and on my left, Gyles Brandreth and Lucy Porter. Please welcome all 4 of them. Beside me sits Sarah Sharp, who's going to run the stopwatch for me. She's going to blow the whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And so we'll begin the show this week with Gyles Brandreth, and the subject is smartphones. Tell us something about smartphones in this game, starting now.
The only people who ever call me by landline these days are over the age of 80. So when the telephone rings, I'm sure it is either Nicholas Parsons or Barry Cryer. I am a great believer in smartphones. I have a collection. The smartest of them is one that is made of Bakelite but an avocado colour, a traditional sort of instrument, and I love using it because it's got a little dial, and I feel my finger is going round, and I think of the smart people who may have used this in the past. The smartphone probably we're referring to now is the one, a smartphone invented in 1983 by, I think, the computer company IBM. These are clever kinds of phone that do more than just connect you with another human being so that you can jabber ceaselessly down the line. These are smartphones that can give you letters, emails, texts, all sorts of other communications, indeed enabling the great Donald Trump, that curious connection between Donald Duck and...
Well, that doesn't often happen in just a minute. He started with a subject and finished with a subject. A point for speaking with the whistle went, and a bonus point for not being interrupted. Well done, Gyles.
Oh, thank you.
So, Lucy Porter, we'd like you to begin the next round, and the subject is the Big Apple. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
The Big Apple is, of course, a nickname for NYC, a major city in the north of America. I myself have been to the Big Apple, and unlike an apple, it is disgusting when it's hot. It is not, to me, like a big apple. I would prefer to compare it to the plate.
Gyles, you challenge first.
Bit of hesitation.
Hesitation, yes. So, Gyles, you have a correct challenge. 41 seconds available. The subject is still the Big Apple, starting now.
The Big Apple is a glorious dance that was invented in New York in the 1920s and involves the most extraordinary facial movements. Because what you have to do is pretend that you are actually consuming a big apple while you are jitterbugging. And the mouth goes wide open as you move towards your partner, and then you retreat as they think you are rotten to the core. But it's quite fun in its own way if you like terpsichorean things that involve an amusing name like the Big Apple. The Big Pear is not relevant and would be a deviation, so I'm going to go on to now why New York City happens to be called the Big Apple. This dates from 1893, a curious idea introduced by Mark Twain towards the end of his life.
So welcome to the Gyles Brandreth Show. Gyles, you will again speak as a whistleblower and gain an extra point for doing so. And I would like to reassure our listeners, if they've just tuned in, there are other people taking part. And we're going to hear from one of them now, Graham Norton. Graham is... Well, you've got two fans in the audience, Graham. And you've got the subject of counting your chickens. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
Growing up as I did on my grandmother's small holding in the west of Cork, I counted many chickens, but other animals too. There were pigs, and I would count them. But mostly I would count chickens, because that is the subject.
Lucy Porter challenge.
2 counts, whereas it's counting in the title, is that?
Who invited her?
Yes, you've only played the game once before, but you've now cottoned on well, Lucy. That's the correct challenge. Correct challenge. A point for that, Lucy. Counting your chickens, and 45 seconds available, starting now.
Counting your chickens before they are hatched is something that you are not supposed to do, but surely that's easier because eggs don't move around like little yellow chirpy things. Counting your chickens is something that an experienced farmer might be expected to be able to do and not have any trouble in working out how many male or female animals of the chicken species would be expected to appear in the eggs at any given time of the...
Graham, new challenge.
I think there was a repetition of eggs.
There definitely was a definite of eggs, yes. I'm surprised you could go so long without mentioning it once or twice. So, Graham, a correct challenge. You have counting your chickens. It's back with you, and there are 18 seconds available, starting now.
1, I would go. That's Maisie, because, of course, I named the chickens. I remember her sister Daisy. She was delicious. I would then go on to number 2. Possibly that was Fred. It's hard to know in profile. Sometimes I mistake him for Tony, who was another of the chickens in that yard.
So, Graham Norton was again speaking as the whistle went. Gained that extra point. He's moved forward. He's just behind Giles Brandreth, ahead of Lucy Porter. And Paul Merton, we're going to hear from you at last, because we want you to begin the next round. It's your turn. Mowing the lawn. Your reaction tells me it's not something you're very adept at. Anyway, tell us something about mowing the lawn starting now.
When you get around about this time of year, it's very important in the garden that you mow your lawn. Now, there are many different techniques to achieve this particular effect. Some people swear by the goat, or the lamb, or the sheep. But I think that because the 21st century is with us now, we should depend more on mechanical means. Take, for example, the lawnmower. Some of them are manually operated, others have electric motors, and I can't believe I'm still talking on this boring subject. The way that you do your lawn is to get two different stripes of colour, a dark green and a lighter variety of the same shade. And by doing this, people come round and say, I see you've mowed your lawn. And I say, not only that, but I've created a new character for my act on radio, even as I speak. Mowing the lawn for me is one of the great achievements of my life. When I wake up in the morning and the grass hasn't been cut, oh, I'm fearful of that day, because I get up and I...
Paul, well, you went for 58 seconds. Oh. And Lucy, you were the one who had the
the responsibility, but I think grass was repeated.
I think grass was repeated, yes, more than once, I think. But it was wonderful. Give him a bonus point because his agility to keep going in another voice like that. But, Lucy, it's a correct challenge. You've not played the game much before, so the etiquette deserted you.
I care little for etiquette.
You've got him with 2 seconds to go on mowing the lawn, starting now.
My husband mows the lawn because...
Right. So at the end of that round... there's 1 point separating them all. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Giles, we're back with you to begin Jane Austen. Will you tell us something about Jane Austen in this game, starting now?
We all know that George Eliot was actually a woman. Not everyone realizes that Jane Austen was, in fact, a man. This has been kept quiet for hundreds of years, but I'm going to reveal all in the next few moments. I'm a huge admirer of the novels, the 6 extraordinary stories that were published during her lifetime, and the 2 subsequent ones, Sanditon and the Waltons, that appeared later, and then unfinished work as well that only recently was published in the 1960s. Jane Austen...
Graham challenge.
Repetition published.
Yes, that's right, yes.
By Jove.
By Jove. I'm not confident with all the facts you were giving us.
Well, I don't know. Obviously, it's going to be controversial that she was a man. I agree.
It's not controversial, it's wrong.
But Graham, you had a correct challenge. And the subject is still Jane Austen. And there are 28 seconds available, starting now.
I once took my mother away for a lovely country weekend, and we were walking down a road, and I went, oh, look, Jane Austen used to live there. I knew this because someone had stuck a plaque on the house. We stood momentarily and read it, and then mused about what life was like at that time. My mother said some things.
Oh, Paul Charles, yes.
Repetition of mother, sadly.
Yes.
I loves you, Ma.
Right, Paul, correct challenge. 6 seconds. Tell us something about Jane Austen, starting now.
Every season I plant Jane Austen in the meadows to get some Jane Austen bulbs coming up absolutely beautifully.
So at the end of that round, Paul Merton speaking as a whistle went. Oh, it's very interesting. Giles is 1 point ahead of the other 3, who are all equal in second place, 1 point behind. Lucy, we're with you to begin. The subject is ghosts. Tell us something about ghosts in this game, starting now.
Ghosts are really just a way we explain strange things that are actually aliens having a laugh with us. When I was a kid, there was always a ghost at every school. The ghost at our establishment was a nun.
Graham challenged.
Just because it happened to me once. Repetition of ghost. And it's
yes.
ghosts is the subject.
It is.
Just saying.
Woo! And a ghosty.
So, Graham, a correct challenge, though. and you have a point for that. And you have the subject of ghosts. 47 seconds, starting now.
Ghosts is also a play by Henrik Ibsen. And at drama school, I played the role of Oswald. The director said, good, Graham, but maybe try not to be like an irate shop window dresser. I felt this was an unfair criticism. I had to kick over a chair at one point, and the chair sort of...
Paul, challenge first.
Repetition of chair,
Yeah, we heard the chair. So, Paul, you got in with a correct challenge. Another point to you. 27 seconds are still available. Ghosts, starting now.
As the moon crossed slowly across the sky, I realized that my father was coming towards me. He'd been dead for some 25 years, but the ghostly pallor on his face spelt out one message for me. I realized I had let him down. As a spiky hand came towards me, I said to him, "Why have you got spikes on the end of your arm?" He said, "Because I have been put through the Hades of hell, and I have
So
come..."
Paul Merton, speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. And you've taken the lead. You're one ahead of the others. And Graham Norton, we're with you to begin now. And the subject, oh, what a wonderful character, Humphrey Bogart. Tell us something about Humphrey Bogart in just a minute, starting now.
When I think of bunker... Well, that seemed to go well. No one's buzzed. I'm keeping going.
No, he did buzz, I'm afraid. Giles, you challenge first.
He got the Bumphrey instead of the Hogarth.
Deviation from language and subject and everything like that. Right. So you've got 58 seconds if you need it, Giles. Yeah. Humphrey Bogart, starting now.
Humphrey Bogart, sometimes known as the American Nicholas Parsons, was an extraordinary actor. Born, I believe, on Christmas Day, 1899, and went on to star in some 70 Hollywood movies. An extraordinary presence, a brooding personality, not always a very easy man to work with by every account, as Lauren Bacall confided to me when I was dating Cher in a young and early in life as a part-time gigolo. But what I want you to know about Humphrey Bogart is this.
Can we say this is deviation from Humphrey Bogart? He's not talking about Humphrey Bogart. No, you were talking about dating Cher and having Italians with Lauren Bacall.
I happened to be with Lauren Bacall talking about Humphrey Bogart.
But you weren't, were you?
I was. Play it back, enjoy it, relish it. People do. People collect the tapes.
Thank goodness for BBC Sounds.
Does anybody else in the audience know whether Gyles was with Humphrey Bogart's wife in the show?
Yeah. Thank you.
Nobody.
Oh, do you mean nobody? All right, only 8 people, but still, 8 people were witness to the dinner. We were at a quiet table in the corner of the Caprice. Why would everyone have seen us?
Giles, you're very persuasive. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Because we do deal a little bit in fantasy in this show. And you have 30 seconds if you need it on Humphrey Bogart, starting now.
There's nothing more pathetic than an inadequate Humphrey Bogart lookalike. I hired one from an agency on some occasion, an upturned Paul Merton dressed as a Mangel Wurzel who also thought he could play Humphrey Bogart. It was not totally successful, whereas Lucy Porter...
challenge.
I never got paid.
In other words, you're saying it was a fiction, Paul.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I did get paid, though.
Yeah,
so,
you did. Because you were a convincing Lauren Bacall, whereas Paul, really, frankly, I mean, it was more Peter Lorre than Humphrey Bogart.
I thought I was Humphrey Bogart.
No.
Oh, okay.
You were Lauren Bacall. Don't you remember?
No. I think we should get on with just a minute. Paul, I'm now able to say, yes, you have the benefit of the doubt because I gave it to Giles before. You've got it this time. You have the subject. You have 14 seconds. Humphrey Bogart, starting now.
Humphrey Bogart did appear in the film The Maltese Falcon alongside Peter Lorre. You despise me, don't you? And it was Humphrey Bogart himself who played the part of Sam Spade. Listen to me, I'm looking for the Maltese Falcon. And that's a repeat of Maltese Falcon.
So Paul Merton then speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point, and he has moved forward. It's all very, very close. It's Paul Merton, Giles Brandreth, Graham Norton, and Lucy Porter in that order, only 1 point separating each one. And we're back with you to begin, Paul, and the subject is fine wine. Ooh. Fine wine. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
I think you want to know what fine wine is. You get a little bottle of it and you drink it in the back, and that's when you know you got fine wine. That's it. That's fine wine.
Graham, your challenge.
Repetition of where?
The
I
only
was listening closely.
The only
he's
thing
quite
I
right.
can do, Graham, is to say yes, correct. And a point for that. And you have the subject of fine wine, and there's still 54 seconds available, starting now.
Well, it'll come as no surprise to many that I enjoy fine wine, certainly to drink it. What I don't like so much is the faff that surrounds fine wine. You order something, and suddenly someone is coming towards you with a trolley. You know you're in trouble. And then there's the cork, there's the sniffing, there's decanting, there's a candle. What the hell is that for? They light it, but I don't know why. I find fine wine delicious. Really? I'm still talking. Okay. Am I still talking?
No, Paul challenged.
Oh, good.
No, there was a bit of a hesitation.
Yes, there was.
There was a bit of
creep in.
hesitation. So, Paul, you have fine wine back with you. 25 seconds available, starting now.
That's it, fine wine. You get it, just put it in your throat. That's the
Gyles,
only way you can have fine wine.
And that's what my mother used to say to me every Christmas. Fine wine, of course, you don't have...
Oh, you've been challenged.
What do you mean, oi, oi, oi? Oi, oi. This is Radio 4, mate. Oi, oi, oi.
I know it's...
You're not on the paddle steamer now, you know. Oi, oi, oi.
It's very un-Nicholas Parsons.
Very Nicholas Parsons.
Gyles, your challenge.
Repetition of yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I've got to expand my vocabulary. That's the second time I've repeated that word.
So, Gyles,
I'm
you've got
trying
in
to say Mesopotamia.
with a correct challenge. 21 seconds still available. Fine wine, starting now.
I'm rather with Graham Norton on this. People say sommelier, but I say patronising bastard. I simply want a delicious bottle of wine served to me that tastes good, smells nice, and does the trick. Fine wine comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes nowadays, including, believe it or not, cardboard boxes. And you can get an app.
So Giles Brandreth was then speaking as the whistle Wayne gained that extra point. He's now equal in the lead with Paul Merton, followed 2 or 3 points behind by Graham Norton and then Lucy Porter. And Giles, we're back with you to begin, and the subject is the Angel of the North. Tell us something about that subject or that character, that statue, if you can, starting now.
I imagine you are indeed, Nicholas, thinking of that fine statue by Anthony Gormley that is up there in the north. An angel, 20 feet high, a span twice that, a magnificent piece of art. I think, though, of the Angel of the North as being Big Bertha Blackstock of Accrington, a girl I met before my gigolo years, who, for me, introduced me to the lights of love in the suburbs of Manchester. She really was the Angel of the North. The fun we had together. She blew into my ear in the most...
I wondered where that was going.
Well, I told you where it was going, into the ear. Perfectly respectable.
So, Lucy, you challenged first. What was it?
I was feeling a bit sick.
Lucy, we're friends.
I can't
If
give
we challenged Giles every time we felt a bit sick, we'd never get going.
I can't give you a point for being sick.
Well, but Bertha and we were a long way from the actual Angel of the North, I felt.
The thing is, Lucy, he was in his own fantasy world, and his Angel of the North was in Manchester, and she was a Big Bertha of a kind. As you only played the game once before, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And say yes, beautiful. And say there are 24 seconds still available. You tell us something about the Angel of the North, starting now.
My Angel of the North was a man in a bedsit in Manchester called Julio, and he really did blow into my ear quite spectacularly.
I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. But if it wasn't acceptable for me to have Big Bertha blowing gently into my ear, she's got Julio blowing exceptionally hard into her ear. What has this suddenly become, an episode of Fleabag? Let's get back to Anthony Gormley.
Let's.
Giles, she wasn't deviating within the rules of just a minute. And I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Lucy, because she hasn't played the game as much as anybody else.
No, I'm losing the crowd now, Nicholas. All I had was the sympathy vote, but...
No, you had the charm vote as well.
Yeah.
Her and Julio, she certainly played the game.
So, point to Lucy. 17 seconds, Lucy. The Angel of the North, starting now.
The Angel of the North is, of course, a statue by Anthony Gormley, also known as the Gateshead Flasher. It sits on the A1 and the A169, which are fine...
Oh, poor challenge.
Repetition of A.
A1 and A169, yes.
Oh, but they're such different roads.
They are.
But the same letter was the same.
Yeah.
So in just a minute, that is repetition. Paul, the correct challenge, a point.
Big fans of the A169.
It's a thin line between audience and mob. I hope you haven't crossed it.
Considering they haven't paid to get in, they're a bit pushy, aren't they?
So, where were we? Angel of the North is with... who challenged?
I challenged.
You challenged correctly. Right.
Yes.
8 seconds available, starting now.
As I stood at the foot of the Angel of the North, that magnificent statue created by Sir Anthony Gormley, I couldn't help but pick up the local accent. Terracotta...
So Paul Merton, speaking then as the whistle went, gained that extra point. He's increased his lead at the end of the round. He's ahead of Giles Brandreth by 2 points and 3 or 4 ahead of Graham Norton and Lucy Porter in third place. And Lucy, we're back with you to begin. The subject is fishing. Ooh. I don't know whether you are a fishing woman or a fisher or whatever they call it, but fishing is a subject starting now.
Fishing is not something with which I am particularly familiar. The nearest I get is reaching into the freezer to get some bird's eye cod fingers. Fishing is an unusual pastime. It is both. I just thought I could...
Giles challenge.
Bits of hesitation.
There was.
I didn't get hesitation. She just spoke it so quietly.
She was fishing for her teeth, actually.
50 seconds are still available, Giles. Another point to you. Fishing starting now.
I know that some people think that the amount of name-dropping I do on this programme is somewhat vulgar, but I can't help but recall the time I went fishing with the late Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. It was an extraordinary experience. Because to see her in her
repetition of Queen.
Queen Mother.
Yeah, there has been a problem on this show.
Anyway, 37 seconds are available. Having got another point, Paul. Fishing starting now.
I put the worm on the end of the hook. I wasn't particularly an experienced fisherman, but I was going to give it a go. As I dropped the silvery wire into the river, I saw that the water started to gather around as a fish, it could have been a salmon or maybe a trout, came hurtling towards the target. I felt it pull, and I tugged back hard. So hardish was I pulling that the whole thing went over my head, landed on a tree behind me. I pulled hard on the rod, did a double somersault.
Graham, you challenge.
Too hard.
Yeah. Two pulls. Two pulls. Yeah, there was a pulling, but there was two pulls.
Oh, two pulls.
There was two rods as well.
Two rods, yeah.
Yes, two rods. Two rods.
So, Graham, you've got him in 10 seconds to go. Tell us something about fishing starting now.
Very few people know that as a student during the summer, I earned money working on a trawler. Yes, you heard me, an actual fishing boat. I would leave the harbour early in the morning with sandwiches.
And we're moving into the final round. Let me give you the situation as we move. They're all very close, actually. Lucy Porter has not played the game much before, but she's doing it very, very well. She's in fourth place, but she's doing very, very well. But she's only 2 points behind Graham Norton, and he's only 2 points behind Giles Brandreth, and he's only 2 points behind Paul Merton. And Graham Norton, it's your turn. A full house. Talk about that subject in this game, starting now.
It is a pleasure this evening to sit behind this table and look out at what we call a full house, which means a theatre with not a seat to spare. Every ticket is gone. But in the old days of the Edinburgh Festival, it was not always like this. I remember playing the Pleasance Attic Theatre, which...
Lucy Porter challenge.
Was repetition of theatre.
Yes.
Well, listen, Lucy. 39 seconds are still available. You tell us something about a full house starting now.
A full house is something that you don't want your rival to get if you are playing bingo or poker or at the Edinburgh Festival. Many times I have looked out and seen a gloriously full house, but that was when I was playing the game where you dab the little numbers and then you call housey at the end. I do enjoy playing the game.
Giles, challenge first.
A repetition of game.
Indeed.
Yes, and playing as well. 17 seconds still available, Giles. Another point to you. A full house starting now.
Oh, it's so exciting to know Nicholas Parsons, because if you do a show with him, you are guaranteed a full house. Where if you go on your own, it may be a little bit more disappointing. There will be a few folk there, but not necessarily a full house. Whereas our host brings with him such a retinue of admirers that...
So, Giles, you were speaking as a whistle when gained an extra point. The final situation, Lucy Porter, as I said, not played the game as much as the others, but did... No, she finished in a very strong fourth place. But she was only 1 point behind Graham Norton, and he is only 2 or 3 points behind our joint leaders, Paul Merton and Giles Brandreth. So we say we have joint winners this week. So it only remains me to say thank you to these 4 exciting, delightful players of the game, Paul Merton, Graham Norton, Giles Brandreth and Lucy Porter. I thank Sarah Sharp, who's helped me keep a score, kept the stopwatch going for me, and blown her whistle with such style. We thank our producer, Matt Strong. We're indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're grateful to this lovely audience. So from the audience, from me, Nicholas Parsons, goodbye. And tune in when we play Just a Minute. Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Hello. My name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but around the world, and to welcome to the program 4 exciting, talented people who are going to try and speak on the subject I give them, and do that without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. And they are, seated on my right, Paul Merton and Zoe Lyons, and seated on my left, Tony Hawkes and Cariad Lloyd. Please welcome all 4 of them. Beside me sits Hayley Sterling, who's going to help me with the score, and she'll run the stopwatch for me and blow the whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And we're going to begin the show this week with Tony Hawkes. Tony, the subject here is department stores. 60 seconds starting now.
The internet is causing such problems for department stores. Only yesterday, I bought a department store online, just ahead of Mike Ashley, and he was a little bit fed up about it, I don't mind telling you. If you make your way through a department store, very often...
Paul challenge.
Now, this is very picky, but he repeated store.
Oh, yes.
And this is department stores.
His department stores is a subject.
Oh, you look like you've just seen the Starr Prize.
Well, to be fair, within the rules of Just a Minute, Paul,
It is quite picky, but Tony is a very experienced player.
Yeah, it is. Right. I was a fool to myself. What's the subject? Department stores. Right, OK. Off we go.
No. Tony, I tell him when he can go.
Oh,
so you get a point for a correct challenge, Paul, and you take over the subject. 40 seconds still available. Department stores, starting now.
As has been suggested by Tony, department stores are going the way of the horse and cart. There'll be a few around, but not as many as we're used to. I can't quite understand how people can buy clothes, for example, online rather than trying them on in department stores, but this seems to be a very popular characteristic of today's shopping habits. Department stores. I remember the first department store that I walked into. It was in Fulham Palace Road, and this is near where I live, and there was a little toy horse that you could go on and put money into it, pennies, and it would rock up and down. And I thought this was a tremendous thrill because we lived in a fairly small flat and anything like that was seen as incredibly exciting.
Zoe challenge.
I think there were 2 lived.
Yes.
I think they were quite far apart. but they were definitely
quite
there.
I did say it last year. You're quite
Yeah.
right.
And you said it just now.
I did, yeah.
Yes. So, Zoe. Oh, Zoe, you've got in with 1 second to go.
I can do this.
Sorry, isn't that when you boo?
Paul, when they play the game as much as you, they boo you.
Yeah.
When they haven't played it as much as Zoe, they cheer. Yeah. So 1 second on department stores with you, Zoe Lyons, starting now.
Department stores are where...
In this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point. And it was on this occasion Zoe Lyons, so she's in a lead at the end of the round. Cariad Lloyd, will you begin the next round? Daytime television. Will you talk on the subject starting now?
Daytime television is a particular colour. It is bright and it is definitely orange. The reason for this is everyone watching it is dying or hungover. So you need that bright colour to penetrate...
Zoe challenge.
There were two brights.
Oh, was
Yeah,
there?
too right,
Right.
yeah.
Bright and orange, yeah.
And you have a correct challenge, Zoe? And you have 50 seconds. Daytime television starting now.
My dream job is to be a cook on daytime television. Well, I'll rock up with a couple of chickens and maybe some potatoes and knock a dish out for them, for the presenters on the show. I have no idea what I would use or indeed utilise.
Oh. Tony, you challenge.
Use the chicken and the potatoes.
Oh, right, yeah. That's handy, yeah.
Tony, it's a very good challenge, but...
Deviation. She said she'd have no idea what she'd use.
That's
And
right, she
She
should have
rocked
had
up
some
with
idea.
a chicken and some
I'm not
potatoes,
sure what cooking facilities will be
suggesting to me that
available in full.
only a very dim person would think I'm rejecting this chicken and these potatoes, and instead I'm going to use the carpet that's over there.
No, you can interpret it that way, Tony, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and give you a point for a correct challenge. And 38 seconds available. Daytime television starting now.
The late, great Alan Corran once said to me, human beings are more interesting than television, otherwise there'd be a person in the corner of every room. And if you think about it, this was quite wise. People have started to put these TVs everywhere so they can indulge in the practice of watching daytime television. What an appalling way to spend your time. I urge you, if you are listening now and the midday repeat and watching, please throw it out of the window. Make yourself do something.
Paul challenge.
Well, this is dangerous advice for people who live in tower blocks. Throw your television out of the window.
Yeah. It is dangerous
It is
advice.
dangerous
Yeah.
advice.
He was-
But not a
but he wasn't-
transgression in just a minute.
But he wasn't deviating from the rules in just a minute, was
No,
he?
fair enough. I was just thinking of it from a health and safety point. But no, he wasn't deviating. No, you're quite right.
I'll give you a point for that because it could be interpreted that way, a bonus point, because I gave him a bonus point a little while ago. So I'm redressing the balance. A bonus point to, what is your name?
Kenneth Williams.
And you sound exactly like him.
I do. I've come all the way from Great Portland Street to do this show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an outrage.
No,
More like Shirley Williams.
Stop messing about now. Stop messing about, please. No. Yeah. Oh, yes. He's a very good chairman, isn't he, Nicholas Parsons? Oh, yeah.
You can do an impression, can't you, of Kenneth Williams? Nicholas can do one.
Tony.
Yes.
There are 6 seconds available still. Daytime television starting now.
We had a go at doing just a minute on daytime television. We had the marvellous host, Nick.
Went. Gained an extra point. And he's in the lead now with Zoe Lyons and Cariad Lloyd. And Zoe Lyons, it's your turn to begin. A full moon. Tell us something about a full moon starting now.
A full moon is something to behold, something absolutely beautiful. That is unbelievably bad, Lyons.
Why is the challenge? Carrie?
Repetition of something.
Just within, I think I beat my last record on the last one.
So, Cariad, correct challenge. A full moon's with you starting now.
When there is a full moon, things can get very strange. Some people are very affected by...
Zoe challenge.
Two berries.
Two berries, yes.
Two very picky.
Absolutely true.
So you've got it back again,
Right,
Zoe,
come on.
very quickly.
I'm going to give you 4 seconds and then I want it back.
50 seconds are now still available. A full moon, Zoe, starting now.
There is nothing like driving down a country road and coming around the corner at night and seeing a full moon just hanging beautifully in the air like a giant orb. It's been a thing of mystical...
Carry on.
I wasn't quite sure what word was trying to come out of Zoe's mouth there. Mystical? It sounds like repetition.
Two different words.
But they sounded very similar.
Mythical and mystical.
Mythical, okay, I stand corrected. I thought she incorrectly said the word mystical with a lisp.
No.
She said mythical and mystical.
I think she combined two words into one.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. So she was deviating from the English language as we understand it.
Yes.
So that's the way I will interpret it. And
That's very harsh.
Anyway, I can point to you, Cariad. 39 seconds available. A full moon starting now.
Don't go down to the woods when the moon is full, for you will see a werewolf is the common misconception. However, if you do go to the gladed area where trees are to be found, you will in fact find a hairy man. Tony is a hairy man sitting next to
Paul challenge.
Inevitably, a repetition of a hairy man.
Yeah. Inevitably. And Tony, you don't have to prove it.
Not on radio.
Paul, a correct challenge. 23 seconds still available. A full moon starting now.
There was a film made in 1940 starring Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman that featured a full moon very heavily in the plot. Normally by day, this individual was walking around like any other citizen, but as soon as the full moon appeared in the sky, hair would emerge on the back of his hands, all down his back and across his...
Zoe challenge.
Repetition of back.
Oh,
back of his hands and all down his back.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, listen, Zoe, and you've cleverly got him with 4 seconds to go.
the dream.
A full moon is with you. 4 seconds starting now.
The most beautiful full moon that I ever saw was in Wiltshire.
Wait a minute. Tony, you challenge?
I think she said saw before.
Oh, she did say so before.
Shady.
Really?
Yes, you did.
He's not sure, he's bluffing.
Yeah,
No, I think you saw all
She
sorts of
said
things.
beautiful before, but you didn't get
Yeah,
you said saw.
beautiful and saw and everything.
Anybody else want to give any opinion on this?
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, let Zoe have it. It was a long time ago.
I will not win anyway, Tony. I'm of no threat whatsoever.
The thing is, I think you can definitely do this second that remains
Do you
with
know
no
what?
problem at all.
I appreciate your confidence in me, but even I don't have that much confidence in me.
Tony?
Oh, there we go, you see.
Repetition of confidence.
Tony, there's only half a second to go. So whatever she said, she's still got the subject. Starting now.
Full moons!
Zoe Lyons was speaking when the whistle went. Oh, she's leapt forward. She's in a strong lead ahead of Tony Hawkes and Paul Merton in second place, and then Cariad Lloyd 1 point behind. Paul Merton, will you begin the next round? The subject is gold, that precious metal. Talk on it if you can, starting now.
Gold is a much prized metal and has been down the centuries. Tutankhamun was buried with a load of gold, and we think of Elizabeth Taylor wearing a fair amount of the stuff as well. Everything that glisters is not gold, said William Shakespeare, something along those lines. But of course, gold was also a record by Spandau Ballet. And I think that none of us here can believe that I'm still talking on this subject. And I am, because gold is to me one of the greatest exponents of metal in its metal. Metal.
Yes, repetition of metal.
Yes,
Metal.
he recognised his mistake, but you got in first with the challenge. A point to you. 33 seconds still available. Cariad. Gold starting now.
Gold is a lovely thing. I would like to have more of it. If I could have gold shoes, I would ask them to be built for me, although it would be hard to walk around in them. But I think if I was running in the things I was wearing... Gold's hard to talk about.
You challenged first, yes.
There was a slight hesitation
Yes,
there.
there was.
Oh, I didn't notice, but if you say so, Zoe. Yeah.
Gold is a subject still. 17 seconds available. Zoe, starting now.
My father once had a gold tooth and it fell out of his head, so he said I could sell it. So I took it to a man.
Tony, you challenge.
I think hesitation.
I think so. No, not surprised. Fell out of his head.
Well, his mouth. Yeah, which is in his head. It's an umbrella term for mouth, isn't it? I mean, a head sort of encompasses...
He had a gold umbrella fell out of his head.
It fell out of of his head, yeah. Out of his
Well,
mouth.
technically, it was in his head, wasn't it? I suppose.
A head is an umbrella term for all of the features. So in that, my eyes are in my head. It could have fallen out of his eyes, but they didn't. It just fell out of his mouth area of the head. So
if he'd
it's
had a
general
gold
head
eye,
area.
that would have been ridiculous.
That would be a bad dentist.
It was
And there's still 12 seconds available, Tony Hawks, on gold starting now.
Paul is absolutely right. Spandau Ballet did indeed have a hit record called Gold, which ironically didn't win a gold disc. They must have been kicking themselves, those boys.
So, Tony Hawk, speaking as we went, gained an extra point. And, Tony, it's your turn to begin. Henry VIII. Tell us something about that amazing king in this game, starting now.
Henry VIII had a lot of wives. I guess you could say he liked...
Exclusive news, breaking news.
Cariad, you
I think that's deviation because he had 6.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, but I disagree. I think a lot would be 20.
I think by modern standards, it was a hell of a lot.
True. Well, some people have that many wives these days.
Well, most people don't have more than one, do they?
Well, times have changed, Nicholas.
This is why you tune in to Radio 4.
No, I don't think it's an exaggeration. So he had many wives, and he has a subject still, Tony Hawks. Henry VIII, 56 seconds, Tony, starting now.
It's fair to say he liked to chop and change. But let's move on from that very poor joke that was written about Henry VIII many years ago. He was the one, wasn't he, who was married, we forget that, to Catherine of Aragon for 22 years before he divorced her. So you could argue he was quite a good husband for a while, or maybe not. That's for us all to go away after this session, if you call it that, and debate it till we get quite red in the face, because that's...
Cariad, you challenge.
I'm just helping him out. I felt like he wanted a challenge.
What is your challenge, then?
A deviation from Henry VIII. He was just talking about a session and a debate.
No, I think he's still talking about Henry VIII.
Okay, all right. I'll take it back.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't a correct challenge.
All right.
So another point to Tony. 25 seconds available, Tony Hawks, starting now.
He put a lot of work in building the Whitehall Palace, of which all remains now is the banqueting suite, or whatever you want.
Carry out again, challenge.
It's actually called Banqueting Hall. It's not called Banqueting Suite.
Yeah,
the official name is the Banqueting Hall. So it's deviation
you're
from the truth.
absolutely right. And,
It feels like I'm really going for Tony. That's just a fact.
You've got a point at last.
Thank you.
So you take over the subject. There are 17 seconds. Henry VIII, starting now.
Henry VIII was a rather rotund man with a red beard and a big hat. That's how I like to think of him when I dream of him, which I do most nights. I, like many women, would have loved to have been married to Henry VIII. Come on, he liked running around and chicken. Who doesn't like a man who could cook?
Oh, yeah. Paul challenge.
Quite a few likes.
Yes, and man as well. So, Paul, you've got in on Henry VIII, and there are, 2 seconds available.
Oh, you didn't know what to do then, did you?
Henry VIII, starting now.
Henry VIII was played on film by Charles...
At the end of that round, Zoe Lyons is still in the lead, one ahead of Tony Hawks and Paul Merton and Cariad Lloyd in that order. And Cariad, we're with you to begin. The subject, dressed to kill, starting now.
If you are dressed to kill, that means you've got to have a gun on you because you have to have the ability to kill, hence the phrase dressed to kill. So I would think that you would need to have a bullet.
Zoe challenge.
It's really picky, but there were 2 halves.
You
have a
would
gun and have a...
You'd have to have. So Zoe, correct challenge. And you have the subject of dressed to kill, 49 seconds available, starting now.
Before I left the house this morning, I thought, I'm going to dress to kill on this show today. I'm going to do my absolute best on just a minute. So I've worn quite a sporty attire, a flatter shoe, which isn't unusual for me, to be honest with you. They are my favourite sorts of shoes.
Tony, you challenge.
Sort of hesitation, I think, in the middle of that. So swallowed a lot of words, certainly.
Just bad diction, Tony. It's my
Can we have bad
comprehensive
diction
education.
as a challenge?
She didn't actually hesitate. I agree with you. I didn't quite understand what she was saying, but... I I can't give it to you for that, unfortunately. So, incorrect challenge. Another point to Zoe. 36 seconds available. Dressed to kill, starting now.
Historically, the best outfit to wear if you were dressed to kill would be a suit of armour, made entirely out of metal with little bits of leather attached to them so that you could put the arms and legs and head bit on. You would get on your horse and aim out towards the countryside with the very intention of killing something, anything, something that got in your way.
Cariad starting.
Repetition of something.
Yes, indeed there was. So you got dressed to kill. 16 seconds available. Cariad starting now.
If you're going to be dressed to kill, you are going to need lots of things that can hurt people. I think I've thought about this quite a lot, actually.
Zoe challenge.
There were 2 lots.
Yes, you talked
Lots
about
of people.
lots
I've thought
before,
about this
yes.
quite a lot.
Lots and lots. Wasn't it lots and lots?
Lots and lots and lots and lots.
You did say a lot before.
Okay.
6 seconds with you, Zoe. Dress to kill, starting now.
When I go to a wedding, I like to dress to kill so that when I walk in, I look better than the bride. It always makes them really angry, but it makes me...
So, Zoe Lyons was speaking. The whistle went. Gained an extra point. She has leapt forward. She's in a strong lead, ahead of Tony Hawk's Paul Merton and Cariad Lloyd. And Zoe, we're back with you to begin. The subject, the Bee Gees. 60 seconds if you need it, starting now.
The Bee Gees are certainly one of the most iconic pop bands of recent history. They were actually born in the United Kingdom but moved to Australia very early in their lives. They were famous for their amazing hair, boofed to the point of extinction. On tour, they'd get through about 45 to 50 cans of hairspray on a single show. On one occasion in Australian times...
Tony challenge first.
Was there a repetition of Australia?
Yes, there was indeed. They went to Australia. And well, listen, Tony, point to you. The Bee Gees is now with you. 37 seconds to go, starting now.
Is it unkind to say that the Bee Gees haven't done a very good job of living up to their song, Staying Alive? Possibly a little bit on the cruel side, so let's move...
Paul challenge.
Considering the ages they died, they did live up to the song Tragedy. Tragedy. When you give a cuff and your leg falls off, it's tragedy.
They sounded very happy in that song, Tragedy, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which, you know, tragedy.
Yeah.
Paul, I think it was an incorrect challenge.
It was indeed.
Yes. So, Tony, you have another point. And you still have the Bee Gees if you need them. And there are 26 seconds available, starting now.
It's only words, and words are...
Oh, what's the chance?
Well, we can all see it coming. Repetition of words, sadly.
Well, the noise he made is enough to be challenged on email. So, Paul, you have a point. You have the Bee Gees. 21 seconds starting now.
The Bee Gees, known as Morris, Gibb, Barry and Robin, had a huge number of hits from the 1960s onwards. It was the middleman, the big guy with the enormous hair that had the falsetto voice. And this was something that you heard a lot of in the 1970s. One thinks of films like Saturday Night Fever.
Tony challenge.
Repetition of 19.
Oh, yes. 1960s. 19, yes. Well, listen, Tony. And you've got him with 2 seconds to go. Oh, they make more noise when Paul gets him with 2 seconds to go. Anyway, Bee Gees...
I bet you can't do it.
2 seconds, Tony. Bee Gees, starting now.
How deep is your...
Paul challenge.
I was wrong, he can do it.
Give Paul a bonus point because we enjoyed that interruption. And Tony, you've got half a second on the Bee Gees, starting now.
Tragedy!
Of course, Tony, you had a pop group about that time too, didn't you?
Later,
Minor
Nicholas.
and the...
Be fair.
Morris Minor and the Nitwits, wasn't it?
Morris Minor and the Majors. To be fair, we didn't really have as many hits as the Bee Gees.
No, but I thought you'd give you a nice little plug.
It's always good to plug a band that you've disbanded 25 years ago.
Well, I thought it would impress them that you were a pop star at one time.
And that was your error.
That is your modesty.
Thank you.
Right.
There might be a reunion tour, you never know.
Zoe Lyons is still in the lead. And then it's Tony Hawks, who's caught up quite a bit. And then Paul Merton and Cariad Lloyd in that order. And Paul, we're with you to begin. a camping trip. 60 seconds if you need it, starting now.
When I was about 11 years old, I went on a camping trip which had been organised by the Catholic Church. St Vincent de Paul was the name of the organisation. And I can't really think why I was sent on this camping trip. My parents perhaps thinking I was going to toughen up or suddenly have some religious conversion. It was a bit of a 2-week holiday, I suppose, away from normal life, run by a couple of men who had a film club where they would show films that they particularly wanted to see, which had no attention for children.
Zoe, your challenge.
Well, it was a hesitation. His diction went the same way as mine did later. Maybe there's something wrong with this table and it's just sucking our vowels out.
These microphones to make us sound like idiots.
Yeah.
Interpret that as hesitation. Right. So, Zoe, you have 33 seconds if you need it. A camping trip, starting now.
My favourite camping trip was with my dad and brother in Inverness, outside of the city to be exact, and during the summer when all of the midges were in the air. And to get rid of these flies, my father made my younger sibling and I...
Cariad challenge.
Repetition of father, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was it dad first?
Oh, was it dad first? Oh, sorry.
Dad and father. Often the same person.
So it's an incorrect challenge.
Great challenge, yes, indeed.
And 21 seconds still available for you, Zoe. Camping trip starting now.
I like to take pre-packaged food with me when I go on a camping trip because often preparing dinners is not easy on a one-burning, billing, Boeing gas thing.
Paul, you challenge.
She's doing my material.
It's a baby billing Boeing, isn't it? Is that what it's called?
So I had sort of hesitation.
Paul, another point to you. Very correct challenge. 12 seconds available still. A camping trip starting now.
Myself and Nicholas Parsons were camped in the Valley of Kings. Our mission was to find the tomb of Tutankhamun. As we opened up the grey, dusty door, we saw the figure of the boy...
Knowing your usual jokes about my age, Paul, I thought you were going to say I was in the tomb. But you didn't.
I didn't.
You got a point for speaking as the whistle went, and you move forward, and we're moving into the final round. In fourth place, but a very strong fourth place, is a person who hasn't played the game before, Cariad Lloyd, and she's a few points behind Paul Merton, and Paul is 3 points behind Tony Hawks, and Tony is only 1 point behind our leader, who is still Zoe Lyons. And Cariad Lloyd, will you begin the next round? The subject is my hometown. Tell us something about that in this game, starting now.
Despite the incredible, rampant Welsh nature of my name, my hometown is in the suburbs of this great capital city, London. If you sail up the Northern Line as far as you can go and head to where our dear Amy Winehouse gets her Cockney rhyming slang name, you will hit High Barnet. That is where I grew up. It is a very dull place, and if you are listening in the place...
Zoe challenged.
Two places.
Two places, yes. And you've got in there with 35 seconds to go. The subject is my hometown. Zoe, starting now.
I moved around an awful lot as a child, so I don't really have a hometown, but the place I spent most of my life was a little village in Ireland called Dunmore East. It was a very happy time for me there. My favourite game was to play golf with the cowpats in my farmer's field. It was best if they were slightly crusty on top, because you could get more height and width and speed through the air with these particular pieces of dung. The next hometown that I had was in...
Tony challenge.
I was going to say repetition dung, but there wasn't. But I think that there was a deviation there.
Why?
Well, there was really nothing about her town around this whole period of the cowpats and the dung. The audience were getting furious. That it wasn't anything about her hometown, and they were thinking, when's she going to get back to the hometown?
I don't know what you're talking, Tony.
There was very little in the village, Tony. It was really cowpats.
I mean, she was talking about her hometown, and those are the memories that came flooding back. So, an incorrect...
I've made a fool of myself.
So, an incorrect challenge. Zoe has another point, and she has 11 seconds on my hometown starting now.
When we left Surrey, we moved to Glasgow. That became my next hometown, where I was very happy there, because it is a beautiful city with a strong character, very funny people with great stories to tell.
So, to give you the final score, Cariad Lloyd, who's not played it before, came in a very strong fourth place. And she was a few points behind Paul Merton, who was surprisingly in third place. Tony Hawks was in second place, but he was 4 points behind Zoe Lyons, who we say, Zoe, you are our winner this week. So it remains for me to say thank you to these 4 delightful players of the game, Paul, Merton, Zoe, Lyons, Cariad, Lloyd and Tony Hawks. I thank Hayley Sterling, who's helped me with the score and blown her whistle with such style when the 60 seconds elapsed. We thank our producer, Matt Strong. We're indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this amazing game. And we're deeply indebted to this lovely audience here who cheered us on our way magnificently. From me, Nicholas Parsons, and the team, thank you. Tune in again the same time when we play Just a Minute.